Right, good evening and welcome to Axiom Flux, Season 3, Episode 3. And today's date is the 13th of November 2016, and we're going to have a chat about presidential election of last week. I'm going to talk about a certain Donald Trump, president-elect still at the moment, so not until the 20th or the 21st of January, but there we are. Anyway, I want to do a quick introduction. I've got a couple of videos to kick it off tonight, but just say good evening to who we've got here this evening. We've got Angela. Good evening, Angela, who's on mute. We'll say PJ.
Hello everybody. Sorry about that. I didn't catch the mute.
It's all right, Angela. Nice. Thanks for making it tonight. It's always good to hear you. Hope everything's all right. Good stuff. PJ, good evening. Are you there, or you just?
Yep. Evening, stuff. Evening, Angela. All right, Paul. Everybody else.
Yeah. Good evening, all. Good evening, Angela. Good evening, PJ, and good evening, staff.
Okay. Cheers, Paul. Right, that's the introduction. We might have one or two popping in that's having issues at the moment. So, yeah, if anybody else wants to pop in that got the link, then fine, whichever. But anyway, let's kick off. And I've got something to share with us. I'm going to kick off with a couple of videos. I'd just like to say, am I doing it, PJ, or am I doing it? I'll present to everyone. Right. I'm going to kick off this evening with a couple of videos, only 5 minutes. There's the dreaded Paul, Joseph Watson, but we'll get to him in a minute anyway. So let me just start off with this video. It's a bit cheesy, but it sort of goes over what Donald Trump is meant to be all about, if he can deliver such promises. So anyway, here we are. Let's just play this.
Our movement is about replacing a failed and corrupt political establishment with a new government controlled by you, the American people. The Washington establishment and the financial and media corporations that fund it exist for only one reason: to protect and enrich itself. The establishment has trillions of dollars at stake in this election. For those who control the levers of power in Washington and for the global special interests, they partner with these people that don't have your good in mind. Our campaign represents a true existential threat like they haven't seen before. This is not simply another 4-year election. This is a crossroads in the history of our civilization that will determine whether or not we, the people, reclaim control over our government. The political establishment that is trying to stop us is the same group responsible for our disastrous trade deals, massive illegal immigration, and economic and foreign policies that have bled our country dry. The political establishment has brought about the destruction of our factories and our jobs as they flee to Mexico, China, and other countries all around the world. It's a global power structure that is responsible for the economic decisions that have robbed our working class, stripped our country of its wealth, and put that money into the pockets of a handful of large corporations and political entities. This is a struggle for the survival of our nation, and this will be our last chance to save it. This election will determine whether we're a free nation or whether we have only the illusion of democracy, but are in fact controlled by a small handful of global special interests rigging the system, and our system is rigged. This is reality. You know it, they know it, I know it, and pretty much the whole world knows it. The Clinton machine is at the center of this power structure. We've seen this firsthand in the WikiLeaks documents, in which Hillary Clinton meets in secret with international banks to plot the destruction of U.S. sovereignty in order to enrich these global financial powers, her special interest friends, and her donors. Honestly, she should be locked up. The most powerful weapon deployed by the Clintons is the corporate media, the press. Let's be clear on one thing. The corporate media in our country is no longer involved in journalism. They're a political special interest, no different than any lobbyist or other financial entity with a total political agenda, and the agenda is not for you, it's for themselves. Anyone who challenges their control is deemed a sexist, a racist, a xenophobe. They will lie, and then again, they will do worse than that. They will do whatever's necessary. The Clintons are criminals, remember that. This is well documented, and the establishment that protects them has engaged in a massive cover-up of widespread criminal activity at the State Department and the Clinton Foundation in order to keep the Clintons in power. They knew they would throw every lie they could at me and my family and my loved ones. They knew they would stop at nothing to try to stop me. Nevertheless, I take all of these slings and arrows gladly for you. I take them for our movement so that we can have our country back. I knew this day would arrive. It's only a question of when. And I knew the American people would rise above it and vote for the future they deserve. The only thing that can stop this corrupt machine is you. The only force strong enough to save our country is us. The only people brave enough to vote out this corrupt establishment is you, the American people. Our great civilization has come upon a moment of reckoning. I didn't need to do this, folks, believe me. I built a great company, and I had a wonderful life. I could have enjoyed the fruits and benefit of years of successful business deals and businesses for myself and my family, instead of going through this absolute horror show of lies, deceptions, malicious attacks. Who would have thought? I'm doing it because this country has given me so much, and I feel so strongly that it's my turn to give back to the country that I love. I'm doing this for the people and for the movement, and we will take back this country for you, and we will make America great again.
And actually, in fact, we got Dave. Yes, we can hear you, mate. Good evening. All right.
Yeah, it's very breaky up tonight. It's not a very good connection. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, we've had a few problems tonight. I think things have changed since the United Nations has taken over.
Yes, well, I've seemed to have had a lot of trouble since United Nations have taken over.
Well,
who's in? We got.
Yeah, you got me, Stav. All right, Dave.
Oh, you Stav. I've got PJ. Who else is in here?
Stav, me, Stav. How you doing?
You've got good old Paul Bridger. I do believe I did hear a lady's voice a second ago.
Yeah,
that'll be Angela.
Yes, good evening, Dave.
Who's that? Paul?
I'm afraid so, me old mucker.
Oh, that was all broken up. I didn't understand that.
I said, I'm afraid so, me old mucker.
Have you all been sending promissory notes for your electric bill and your internet?
Promise, guys. I promise to pay. Really, I really do. I really do promise to pay. Honest.
Oh, Here comes
Hey,
a crazy little dog.
Okay, well, listen, look, well, if most of you guys saw that video, I won't play it again because obviously there's some problems with it, but we all know what the guy has supposedly promised. Is he going to be good on his promises? Is it a load of baloney? Only time will tell with Donald Trump. Who knows? Was it the fix-in for him to get in? There's loads of if, buts and maybes. But like you said, Angela, when we was chatting just now, it's thrown everything up in the air, which can only be a good thing. So at the end of the day, I think, there's a load of stuff out there now that the people who was not clued into it are clued into it. And the response is that there's no excuse now because the mainstream media, people should be able to see them for what they are. They got the whole thing completely wrong. And, embarrassment is not an embarrassment. You can see what they're all about. So everything's up in the air. Everything's up. How was it received? Well, what I'll do is I'll try and play this 5-minute video. I don't work for InfoWars, but it's a certain Paul Joseph Watson. He just explains to what a certain.
Paul Joseph, I know Paul. He's a lovely lad.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it's just he sums up this video as far as I'm concerned. What a certain, should we say, liberal youth. I've noticed that most of these riots, what's going on, and don't want Donald Trump. I think it's disenfranchised Bernie Sanders supporters who didn't get Bernie, ended up with Clinton, and this is, I think, what they are mostly. But they're very uneducated. They're only young. Well, I say uneducated, that's an excuse. Let's just say they know exactly what they're doing. But anyway, let me play this video and then we'll put it open to everybody and let's see if it works anyway. Right. All right, okay. Am I screen sharing, PJ? Yes, I think so. Yeah. Anyway, here we go. I'll try and turn him up a bit when he gets going.
Any chance of enlarging it?
Oh, guys, this is just breaking up for me all the time. It's like ping pong Daleks.
All right, hang on, let's turn this up. I don't want to open it up anymore, Paul, because it may
Everyone's every second word and stuff.
Hang on then. Let's try this.
Suggestions might not immediately accept the election result. Hillary voters came together, preached a message of unity, and graciously accepted Donald Trump's victory. Oh no, they actually rioted, attacked people in the street, and threatened to kill Donald Trump.
Good looking as me, isn't he, Paul?
I'm not getting audio on that stuff.
Hey?
I'm not getting loud enough audio on that to be able to hear it.
All right, hang on. Then you're gonna have to put up with the internal fan as well. Then here we go.
I'm gonna reboot my machine.
Okay.
Is
that any better, PJ? Let me try that for volume.
Yeah, that sounds better.
And the peaceful transition,
Is that too loud now?
Should be good.
Still quiet, staff.
Oh, I can't go much lower. I'm almost flat out. You're going to hear...
yeah, that should be good. It might be on your side, Paul.
Yeah, I'll turn it up my end.
All right, what I'm going to do is I'll turn it back to there and we'll start it again. Okay, PJ? Yeah, we've got that full up. Let's give it a go. Cheapo Films Limited.
After weeks of taunting Trump supporters over Trump's suggestion that he might not immediately accept the election result, Hillary voters came together, preached a message of unity, and graciously accepted Donald Trump's victory. Oh no, they actually rioted, attacked people in the street, and threatened to kill Donald Trump and his supporters.
He refused to say that he would respect the results of this election. Now, make no mistake, by doing that, he is threatening our democracy. And the peaceful transition of power is one of the things that sets us apart. Our country together, no matter who's in charge.
All year, they preached the mantra, love Trump's hate. All year, they denounced us as being hateful and intolerant. And what's the first thing they do after the election? Engage in rampant hateful intolerance. This tolerant liberal called for people to die to prevent Trump from taking office.
We can't just do rallies. We have to fight back. There will be casualties on both sides. There will be, because people have to die to make a change in this world.
Look at this idiot. Wall Street is the enemy, not Muslims or immigrants. You just voted for someone whose entire campaign was funded by Wall Street. You utter fucking moron. Look at this clown. I am gay. I am in love. I am terrified. Yeah, you didn't seem to be too terrified by 20% of Hillary's campaign being funded by a country that still executes gay people. Seriously, has anyone told you people that you can't change the result of a democratic election by throwing a temper tantrum? The Electoral College isn't going to look at you burning a Donald Trump effigy and think, oh well, a bunch of butt-hurt losers had a hissy fit, so I guess we better just invalidate the entire election and just have everyone vote again.
This isn't fair. I need Hillary to stand up right now and walk in and sue the United States of America.
That's not how it works. You're literally protesting against free democratic elections. Your behavior is why Trump won in the first place. Do you understand that yet? Americans saw you attacking innocent people, burning shit down and rioting all year, and they responded by voting against. Then also, you're carrying Mexican flags while chanting, Trump is not my president. You know that this is America, right? Do you know what country you're actually in? SJWs are trying to pressure the Electoral College to disregard the vote altogether, because blocking the outcome of legitimate free elections because you don't like the result is so progressive. It's not what dictators in third world countries do at all. Now, Katy Perry thinks that she's Che Guevara. Rise up, the revolution is coming. Seriously. Fuck off to North Korea. You like to worry about elections because your candidate wins every time. Look at the unhinged insanity that motivates.
I remember yesterday when I was naive and I thought the September 11 attacks were the worst thing that could happen to America.
Yeah, that's right. 9/11, a terrorist attack that killed thousands of people, that led to multiple wars, that killed hundreds of thousands more people, and ruined the Middle East. Donald Trump is worse than that.
Yay, let's all get ready for World War II.
Hey, dipshit. Already happened.
I have friends that are literally scared for their lives. Personally, I don't think presidents should have that kind of mass effect on people.
They're probably scared because for the last year, you've been regurgitating hysterical media propaganda about how Donald Trump is Hitler. It's your own fault that they're scared of a democratically elected president. And it's the media to blame for inciting these anti-Trump riots. They're even paying people to play the role of anti-Trump agitators. If Trump supporters had reacted to a Hillary victory like this, the media would be denouncing them right now as dangerous, democracy-hating bigots. The media is also reporting on all this as it's some kind of spontaneous grassroots uprising. Wrong again. It's been coordinated and paid for by billionaire globalist scumbag George Soros and Move On the Wall. In Austria, protesters were even loaded onto special buses and transported to the scene of the demonstrations. Why is the political elite encouraging and funding all this? Because, like many of the protesters, they have complete contempt for democracy. They shudder at the very concept of ordinary people having a say in the future of their own country. Well, the people have had their say. And it's a big fuck you to everything that you stand for.
Sweet.
The contempt is so outstanding. It's like back in 1975 when we had the EU elections. I voted no, but I had to suck it up because the vote was yes. I had to suck it up for all the years. So these people that are crying in their bibs all should suck it up also. The result, the people have said Trump is the guy they want.
Absolutely, Paul. Well, this is it, you know. I'm in tears here watching BJW. He's spot on, obviously, and yeah, it's the shame, isn't it, really? But there you are. I mean, let me put it over to Angela. See what you got to say on it, Angela.
Well, that video is exactly the same video, more or less to the script of what he did after Brexit, and he's right, isn't it? It's just the same sort of thing. You know, even the so-called anarchists were out. The paid for anarchists were out in the street. You know, they want sort of the empire of the EU. It was funny, but it's the same rhetoric that's going on, and you can see it's all being fueled by the media. The media did it the same thing in Britain with Brexit. You know, even to the disgrace of bringing that MP that died, Joe, whatever the name was, Joe, can't remember his surname, but you know, they even jumped on the back of that. You know what I mean? It was disgraceful what they did. I mean, lots of people thought she might have been part, you know, it sort of bumped off for the part of it, but it wouldn't surprise me with them. But I think Donald Trump's speech, he spoke like a true conspiracy theorist, didn't he? You know, I don't care what he does from now on, he's woken people up. I mean, I wouldn't trust any of them, to be honest with you. But, you know, it'd be great if he does deliver what he said. But I wouldn't hold my breath for any of it. But, you know, the one good thing is that he's actually woken the people up to the corruptness of especially of the mainstream media. And, like, the brainwashing of the people. You know, like, they're totally brainwashed. You know, that's my thoughts on it.
Where were these protesters when Hillary was holding her rallies, when she wasn't getting the people there? Where were all these people?
They were in bed. Just the same as they were in Brexit. You know, like in the Brexit thing, most of the youth didn't actually vote. Half of these on the street, they probably didn't even vote. But they're getting paid, what is it, $15 an hour by George Soros to come out on the streets and protest. So, you know, I mean, I suppose it's not bad wage when you can get it, is it?
The parallels between this and Brexit are so similar, it has obviously got to be organised.
It's mirror image of each other. And also on that video there, you heard that man that was apparently, he was a cameraman for us. Was it CNN or something? The one that was saying that she should go to the courts. Well, that's, you know, that shot out to me when I heard it. That's another mirror image of what they've actually done in Brexit. They've gone to the courts to, you know, to try and stop it, haven't they? So, you know, that's putting it in the minds of people.
Well, there's one thing you mentioned the Brexit. Let me say the parallel to Brexit, and I'll just say about this. There is at the moment there's the appeal next month, the appeal against the court decision about Article 50. Now, there's a certain Mr. Farage, so I've heard, who's organising a march down to the court with people. So you know, pro-Brexiters, if you want to pick sides or whatever you want to call people that voted out. But it's also being met, it's not on the left, if that's what you could call it or whatever. I hate all these names and terms and whatever, to say that they're going to go down there too. And they're marching against, wait a minute, they've put it out, there's a Facebook page out there with thousands of people saying they're going. They're not going down there to protest the Brexit. They're going down there to protest against racism. Right, so there's going to be I know, it's crazy, isn't it? But there's going to be a meeting of people outside the Court of Appeal, which I think is over 3 days or 2-3 days. I don't know, because, you know, I'm not all up on how, you know, this court stuff. But so that's something that's brewing and being brewed and kicked up now. Who's paying, perhaps who or whatever, I don't know. But that's important to compare the parallels. It's just amazing, like you've done. But anyway, let me see if Dave's sorted out his connection. Can you hear us now, Dave?
I've got you guys loud and proud. Good evening. How are we?
Oh, good
Yeah, good.
evening. Loud and clear, Dave.
How are you? Good. Good, good. First of all, guys, I'd like to pay my respects to Patrick Cullinane, who has tragically lost his life. I want to pay my respects to his family and friends and all that knew him.
Oh, right. I didn't know that, Dave. Didn't know
So I've
anything.
heard. So I've heard. I think it's been confirmed. But yeah, getting back to Trumpy and what's been going on, it's awesome. I'm minded to talk about a video that I watched earlier of Obama jacking up the White House on a bouncy castle, and Hillary's getting out of bed and running out, and this big bulldog with Trump's face on it is just jumping up and down underneath it. I was crying my eyes out. It said 40 million plus views. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Is that the John Lewis advert, Dave?
Eh?
Is that the John Lewis advert?
No, I haven't seen that one. I mean, the thing is, with Trumpy and with Farage, I don't even think it's about the figures. I don't think it's about the men. It's because they're talking about something different and something real and something that's resonating with the people, because there's so many people in this country, in America and around the world, that have nothing to lose. It doesn't matter if they vote left, right. I don't think there's much difference between the two, but they just want a change. And I mean, it's going to be a hairy ride with Trump, for sure it is. But there's one thing that with Trumpy that is quite intriguing, is the fact that he's so rich and wealthy. He's not doing this for the money. Whether it's a power thing with him, I'm not too sure. But I don't think he's going to be open to bribes. I don't think he's going to be open to bungs and just do this, Donald, and we'll see you, sweet, because he don't need that. He's proved himself. He's a highly clever businessman, and the Trump empire's worth absolute just phenomenal amount of money. So I reckon that we're going to see some really good radical changes with Trump, and it's nice to see, Putin saying, "Well, we can talk with Trump, we can negotiate with Trump," and here they were sailing down the channel the other week on their way out to Syria and that with their warships and their battle cruisers and their aircraft carriers. So I have to say, guys, I think we're in for an exciting time with Trumpy, and this is the world, Brexit, Trump. This is just it's a catalyst. It's going to go. It's awesome. It's what we've been talking about for quite a few years now, and this now means that everyday people are going to be seeing it. They're going to be hearing it, and I think we're at this monkey syndrome situation now, where it is an inevitability that the world has to wake up to some truths.
Yeah, I think you're right, Dave, and I think it's quite strange actually now to be kind of on the other side of things, if you like, because it's a feeling that I've never really had much in my life, to be honest. I've always been anti-establishment and I've had my good reasons to be, to the detriment of perhaps even family members. That's how strong I've always felt.
Exactly right. Yeah. But you have to walk your own path, don't you?
Absolutely. And I just think, well, the guy says, all right, he's got to speak. He's going to be a he's going to be the American president. So when he says things like Americanism and not globalism, well, that's sort of kind of music to our ears. Just somebody saying that anti-globalism,
that's right. Yeah.
Hear somebody stand up in front of mainstream media, let alone run for the presidential election race, was like, wait a minute, this is new anyway. Because and then you've got people like Edward Snowden, Julian Assange, WikiLeaks. I mean, there wasn't much in WikiLeaks about Donald Trump and his corruption, was there? I mean, it was all Hillary Clinton, the Clinton Foundation. I mean, you've got to be. I think you've got to be either not on there or you know, the only other thing is there's always that question of doubt. You know, are the system put this out this way? Is it meant to be this way? Well, listen, look. I mean, if you look around the net and there's certain articles I've read, not too many, but if you look in the right place, there's a mention now of this. Instead of a unipolar world, it's a multipolar world, and Russia, China, and people like this, and other emerging nations, whatever, they're all talking about a multipolar world. Well, that's the end of the New World Order, as we thought it was going to be a unipolar, globalized world. So, you know, hopeful about this because, you know, it's there. Now, if it's legit, which I'm hoping, I'm a bit like Angela, where you know, it's hard to believe anybody today. What is the truth and what isn't? But you do your own research and make up your own mind. That's what it's about.
Well, if I was Donald Trump, if I was Donald Trump and I was maybe washing my hair and I was using Head and Shoulders, I would switch to Timotei rather swiftly. Because you know, he's throwing some stuff around in the apple cart, and the powers that be, the people that are supposed to be pulling the strings with these puppets and lacing their pockets, I don't think this man's going to be up for any of that, and it's his way or the byway, and I just hope he can see it through. I hope they don't terminate him. And the more people that talk about the possibility that because of the way he is, he could be terminated, the less likelihood that is of happening. Because when you talk about the events that could happen, and you know, they're averted because everyone knows about it. So maybe, I mean, who knows what the fear? I don't live in fear. Why should we live in fear? Let's just embrace it. We've got no choice. We are, if the government don't get their finger out with what's going on in this country, hands up to Buckingham Palace in March next year. We're going to try and get over 1 million people in Pall Mall and let the Queen know peacefully with our pots and pans that we're not happy and that she needs to take the assent off straight away, and that will give her the power and the reason to do it with. She can say, this is the will of my people, and that's the end of it. Job done. And it might even rearm the royal family with what it is they should be doing anyway. They should be looking after the people. They should have their interest at heart. That's first and foremost. Any state...
That was
Pardon?
Pardon? I think I said that wasn't Ruth.
Hang on, we're breaking up.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt, Dave, but that was her oath.
Oh yes, absolutely. But I mean, whether she's been trained or taught, you know, Fabianism and all that, who knows? I don't know. But it's going to give them a wake-up call, and it's going to give them the power to turn around and say, well, look, I've got 1 million people in Pall Mall. These are the people of this country. I am the head of the sovereigns. They're all my sovereigns out there. I've got to implement their wish and their will. And could you imagine 1 million people down Pall Mall with pots and pans? That would be, talk about history. That would be something else. It's achievable too, because there's a lot of pissed off people in this country. It's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that have got good lives. I've got a good life. I've got a great life. But I'm not naive to know that there's a lot of people out there that haven't, and that they're really struggling. And when we as a people, see, the state, for me, their first priority should be to look after the will of the people and to make sure that everything's going hunky-dory. When the state starts attacking you in your own home, we got problems. And this is where we're at. They're attacking us in our own homes, guys.
I get what you're saying, Dave, but I don't see it. I don't see it up until the point maybe George gets a little bit older, maybe, but not with Elizabeth II. I don't think.
You don't think so?
No, I only just see people with pots and pans.
The most relieving thing I find about Trump being voted in is that we have a little bubble now from an actual hot war with Russia.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And all these people that are out on the streets in America protesting, they should really take that in mind. Forget all their LGBT, Black Lives Matter, this, that, and the other, because everybody's lives matter. And if there was a third world war, everybody in the world will suffer.
Yeah, I think we're in the third world war. We're in it.
Yes, but it's not quite hot yet.
No, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe not. I don't know. They did say the third world war would be like any other that the world had ever seen, and it would be stealthy. And people, gee, you don't to do a lot of things to people. You don't have to drop guns and bullets. You just fluoridate the water and spray the skies and do certain things. So we're in something, because what's going on out there is not natural, is it?
Yes, I concur with you on that, Dave.
It's not natural what's going. What they're doing out there with the spraying of the skies and the food and the water. It's not natural to us, and that's just the reality of it. It's not natural to us, is it?
No, it's not. The just to interject quickly, and I think Dave is on too. What do I say? Now we've crossed the Rubicon, really, Dave, and everybody else, because the fact of the matter, if they pulled a fast one with Trump, either through a lot of people, like you said, Dave, with assassination or anything like that. So if Trump wasn't to come through with a lot of what he said he was going to do now, the whole side of the let's just say the people in the South in America and the right-wing Christians, gun-toting people, whatever you want to call them, which is unfair, I think. The Patriots, they're not gonna, they wouldn't take it this time. I think we've crossed the Rubicon with those, because if it doesn't come out about or anything with Trump, whichever way, and the globalists try to snuff it out or whatever, then you will get some type of civil war type of thing kicking off, because it's gone too far the other way now, and they've been given hope, which is what they didn't have before this election. No matter how you look at it, but there we are. That's all I wanted to say about that. So there you go. Well, Dave seems to have dropped out. Who else we got coming in? See, David. The Baron David, is that right? Are you in here? I'm not sure. How you doing? All right.
I'm good, yeah. How's yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. We played a couple of videos. It's all about Donald Trump tonight, regardless of what people's views are about the system, whatever. It's just basically what's happened over the last week, which is whatever your beliefs is or whatever your thoughts are about everything. And it's been a few.
I've got a dialogue on everything, but I'll sit back and listen first, because that's what I do.
Well, thanks for coming in. We've lost Dave Richard for some reason. His connection's gone. But I don't know if we wanted to push on and wait for Dave Richard to come back in, because Paul's got an article he wants to share with us tonight as well. So I don't know whether you want to push along with that, Paul, or do you want to wait for Dave?
Another saving grace about Trump being actually voted president-elect is now that Obama is actually dropped the TPP article. I'll give you a quick read on it so you understand by what I mean.
Do you want to share your screen, Paul?
Yeah. Oh, crikey, am I not?
Yeah, you're not on screen.
Is it not showing?
No.
Right.
You have to go to the little green arrow on the left.
Yeah.
Press that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we there. Okay, right. Now, this is Breitbart, and this was coming late Friday and it's Obama administration gives up on the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which is the TPP, which is the equivalent to our TTIP, which is the Transatlantic Investment Party.
Do you want to just double check on your screen share, Paul? I think you need to start.
It's not sharing your article, mate.
Not sharing? Okay, I'll go back and try again. It's come up on mine, as in the time tunnel.
Very odd. Did you click start?
Right. Here we go. Here we go. My fault. I forgot to press share.
Okay, now click on your article, Paul.
Yeah, I believe we're there now.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, this was late Friday, the 11th of November. Obama administration gives up on Trans-Pacific Partnership, which is the TPP, to our TIPP and the TISA. Donald Trump's victory in Tuesday's presidential election has promoted President Barack Obama to abandon the Trans-Pacific Partnership. The Wall Street Journal reported late Friday. According to the Journal, the White House had hoped to push the deal forward in the lame duck session of Congress, assuming Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton had won the election. Her loss has already changed the political landscape. Just days after Donald Trump's surprise victory, US officials said Republican congressional leaders had made clear that they wouldn't consider the 12-nation Trans-Pacific Partnership in the remainder of Mr. Obama's term. The House had lobbied hard for months in the hope of moving forward on the pact if the Democratic nominee Hillary Clinton had won. The TTP had faced opposition from both left and right. On the left, Senator Bernie Sanders and others criticised TPP for the same reasons they have long opposed free trade agreements. Namely, they are concerned that the unionised American workers would face competition from lower wage counterparts abroad. Countries with fewer environmental regulations would attract American industries. Conservatives' opposition for the TPP focused on the secret nature of the negotiations. Let's just go back on that, on the secret nature of the negotiations, as well as growing mistrust of Obama's conduct in foreign affairs, where he was seen to have misled the public about key aspects of the Iran nuclear deal. Now, the TPP, the TIPP, and the TISA are basically just the same as the economic blinking union, the EU union. It's a way of breaking up the countries, breaking them down. And so I am actually thankful that Trump won, because Trump does not want the TPP. Anyway, that's my little article. I won't go no further on it because I'm sure a lot of you got more to say. Anybody want to comment on that?
Well, that's just it goes along with most of us. Most of us who could see what the TPP was were saying,
it was NAFTA on steroids, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, if it gets through, it just gives carte blanche to any corporation in the world to hold their country hostage over whatever sovereignty or parliament, whatever you want to call it. They can basically just overrule everything. You know, they become the government, if at all a government, and basically they just take over everything. The corporate world, that's part of the globalism, that's part of the what people term the New World Order, the part of the whole thing. And as Trump is, said from the beginning get-go, it's Americanism, not globalism. Let's keep. If he's all legit, all on all these things, then people have got to hold his feet to the fire. That's basically it. Now, whether that changes anything, but I personally think that he cannot do nothing but other than follow what he said he's going to do, because the people in America that allegedly voted him in, I think was probably very similar to the Brexit, was overwhelmingly more for Trump, and they had to make it look like it was a close run race, very much like the Brexit. Whether they counted the real votes or not, that's by the by, as Stalin said. But at the end of the day, if the truth was told, the people and who actually voted, if somebody can count the votes up, I think it would be overwhelmingly for Trump. There's no doubt about it, and the same with the Brexit. So if this gets all snuffed out, assassinations, whatever, infiltrations, blackmail, whatever, and it doesn't come about after his inauguration on 20th, if you can get there, you're going to see America implode. You will see America implode, no doubt about it. Nothing like these paid Soros, paid operators of young kids being paid a few quid in there and busting them in. We know all this goes on with our own elections. We've seen it with general elections with the Tory party and the left and whatever. They bust in their people and all the rest of it. So, we know it's all true on that side of it. So I just think America will implode if this man does not get and follow out his so-called policies, what he said, and everything's thrown up in the air. Everybody knows the corruption within the government, and they're going to whatever it is, not clean out the swamp. I forgot how we put it now. Drain the swamp.
Yeah.
Right. So if it doesn't look like he's draining the swamp, and it doesn't look like he's carrying out his policies, then you will see American people that don't know, as far as they're concerned, that's it, and that's what you'll see. You'll see more than a few hundred or a couple of thousand disenfranchised teenagers who can't let go of nanny government's tit, because that's what it's about. They want everything for nothing. They want to be paid for. They want to be pampered.
Yeah, and they're thinking about what's in their pockets at the moment rather than long term.
Yeah, exactly. So that's how I see it. I mean, but there's a lot of if, buts, and maybes. There's a lot of whatever. But if the general American people, the middle class, what they call their middle working class, right-wing Christian people, which normally was the backbone of the vote of the American presidential election, always has been the Bible Belt, a lot of it. If they feel they're going to be stitched up, whether they are or not underneath it all, but on the face of it, then you will see America implode, I think. That's my thoughts. I could be wrong. What do I know? What do we all know when it comes down to it? Apart from what we think we know. And that goes through laws, legislation, signatures, names, societies, kings, queens, whatever you want to call it all. Bits of paper. It's bits of paper. That's all it is. Yeah, that's the world, bits of paper. Right? It's because if you try and come from gut feelings and spiritual side of things, say you're nuts and all that, you know what you're talking about, whatever, you're an esoteric nutcase. So what do we know? But I know that for a fact. Well, not a fact. I know that as my thoughts, that I think America will implode if this doesn't come about, or is not seen to come about, shall I put it. So anyway, right, well, we've had, let me just go over to PJ's brief thoughts on it all while he's got a connection. And then perhaps David would like to put his piece about it and what he thinks about it all.
Yeah, well, let David go first because I've got an article I'd like to show. So,
okay, yeah, sure, fine, far away. It's whoever wants it.
Me?
Yes, go far away, David. Let's have your thoughts on it. Just have your thoughts on it, whatever it is, mate.
On the saga that's going on in America now with Hillary and Trump and all that.
Well, yeah, basically, well, Hillary's history now. Apparently, she's
Oh, okay. Everyone has bought the salesman's show. Okay, everyone. I'm listening to. I listen to people before I comment. Yeah, and there's a reason why I do that. It's because this is going to get complicated right off the bat, and I don't want to get complicated right off the bat. It's the way this works.
Analyzing the psyche, David.
Yes, analyzing the psyche. Okay, I'm going to try and explain the way the brain works. Okay, there's a ground, an embedded program that is controls the way you think. Okay, and the way you think is then directly reflected in your narrative and what you're saying. And if that base embedded program is fucked, then everything that's coming out is bollocks, because that base program is fucked. Okay, so and it shows, because if you don't know how the governments of the world, not just talking about the UK and the USA, but it's a big dog and pony show. It's all dog and pony. You've said it yourself. I don't know who said it. You know how corrupt they are, but you're still buying into the salesman show. So let's have a look at what's going on in America, and then I'll go to the UK. So you've got Hillary and you've got Trump, yeah? And this is the dog and pony show. You've got Hillary that has either willfully or been subverted into doing a self-assassination over the past year or more, yeah? Credibility shot to fuck. A professional embarrassment on the world stage of government. That's got to stand out a mile wide. There ain't nobody in the right brain going to vote for Hillary Clinton. And then you've got Donald Trump that's saying all the things that the people want to hear. Yeah? So in a two-horse race, there's no second horse in the race. And that's not democratic. So Trump's going to win. But that's the front show. Okay? There's a back show that no one ever sees, thinks about, because it's not in your base program line that I always see. Yeah. So what is actually going on there? You've got a performance going on, well, self-assassination of their credibility, and you've got a guy that's saying, basically, I was watching a video of Trump the other day, and he's going, before he got elected, he's going to do a JF Kennedy and blow it all away and get rid of all his scum, you know, saying everything that people want to hear. Well, if he actually did that, and he might do, I hope he doesn't drive around in an open top car, because he's going to get killed. But that's what you're being sold. That's not what you're going to get. That's what you're being sold. So what's the background story? What's behind the fucking curtain that you can't see, that you don't think about? And that is this. Let's consider what we're going to call. We're going to call them the powers that be, the puppet string pullers. Okay, I'll tell you now for the fact, the puppet string pullers are fucking shitting themselves. And this is why Trump is coming up all shiny, because it's like, okay, we don't want our heads on a spike, so we're going to have to give the people what they want for a bit, just for a little while. That's what's going on in America. Okay, and that's it. That's the background. That's what you can't see behind the curtain, because you don't think about it. The programs, if your base programming isn't there, you're never, ever going to see the background story behind the puppet show. And it's also happening in the UK. And it's been going on in the UK, well, forever, but more blatantly obvious in the past 5-10 years. We've just gone through 5 years of coalition that the people did not vote for. No one voted for a coalition. That professional integrity of the UK government is down the toilet. And they're laughing their tits off, because the British people will put up with fucking anything. But the integrity has gone down the pan. Yeah? And then we do have another election, and David Cameron gets in again, because the other guy in the coalition, you know, what was he worth? In the 5 years where we had the coalition, what was the other guy? Who was he? Who the fuck was he? Do you remember who he was? Does anyone remember? Was it? Right. How much screen time did he have?
Next to nothing, but I believe he was behind the scenes for the EU.
Behind the scenes doing fuck all with his thumb up his ass. And in those 5 years, what happened to David Cameron? He's got his dick in a fucking pig's mouth. His assassination credibility after assassination credibility after assassination credibility. Fucking embarrassment, professional embarrassment in the 5 years of coalition. Yeah? And then he gets in. And so he's the chief now without a coalition. And then we've got all this fracade of a referendum. And that is a fucking major puppet show that escapes everyone's attention on the details. And no one's got a clue, because everyone thinks right now that, yay, the people have won. We've won a referendum. We've stuck it to the government. We're getting out the EU. That's what you think. That's what everyone believes. And the system does work, you know. It's one up for the system. The system works. Does it fuck? Does it bollocks? People believe that they voted in a referendum and believe that they won. Yeah. No, fucking never happened. Clear as day. And the fact is this. Before the referendum, did anybody hear about Article 50? No. Where did Article 50 come from? No one knew about Article 50 before the referendum. So the treaty that was referendum on has got Article 50 inside that treaty. So the government, if they wanted out of the EU, could have used Article 50 any point in time in the past 47 years. But hang on a minute. If they want to use Article 50, that's going to be a major embarrassment for the government, because then they've got to hold their hand up and say, sorry guys, we fucked up. It's cost you hundreds of billions of pounds over the past 40 years. Sorry guys, we fucked up, made a mess of this. We're getting out now. It's going to take us 2 years, and it's going to cost you another few fucking billion while we get out. No, the government can't do that. That's not how they play the game. But why would the government want to get out of the EU? Why would that, you know, why have we got to pull a charade with a referendum when they've got Article 50 that they can use? Well, that is one reason why. You know, they might end up with heads on a fucking spike. They don't want to do that. They don't want to risk that. Let's think about the bigger picture. You've got, I actually went through the list the other day. There's 174 countries in the Commonwealth. Now, the bigger picture and the deeper knowledge is the fact that these are all the same company. Yeah, all of them other countries are a part of the UK company by the fact that we invaded them, and they're all under Admiralty law. So the EU, the actual EU company itself, because they're all companies, is part of the British government. That might sound crazy. That's the way it is on paper. So why would the British government want to get out of their own company? Well, the reason is because they know it's going to go tits up. They don't want to get left holding that bag of shit at the end of the day. So they've got to get out, but they can't use Article 50 because then they've got egg on the face, and they might get their heads on a spike. So they're going to come up with a ruse, and the ruse is, well, we'll offer the people a referendum. And we'll try and fight this referendum, and all the media will be against not leaving the EU. It would be a disaster if we leave the EU because of this reason and that reason. But hey, the people have won, and we've won the referendum. Horseshit. That was a given before we fucking started. All them boxes were ticked because the British government want out of the EU. Okay? That's a fix-up. You said it yourself. They are corrupt to fuck. absolutely 100% corrupt to fuck. So the referendum is a fix-up, and then they bring in, whoa, Article 50. Well, where did Article 50 come from? It's inside the treaty that the referendum just flushed down the pan. So you can't use Article 50 because it got flushed down the pan by way of a referendum. But now the government are stitching us up with Article 50. And what's happening next? You've got, oh, and then David Cameron has to retire. He has to bow out as a professional fucking embarrassment. And now we've got another unelected Theresa May in the big chair. No one fucking elected her. Another professional embarrassment. This country is the fucking laughing stock on the world stage. Every other country is laughing their tits off at the UK right now.
Yes, because I was back with this Article 50 because I thought the 1972 Communities Act was going to be invoked.
Well, 1972. We're talking 47 years of this treaty that's just been referendumed out. Article 50.
Dave, no, Article 50 didn't exist until the Lisbon Treaty was signed, and that wasn't until 2009. Before 2009, Article 50 didn't exist.
Well, okay. In that case, the Article 50 has got nothing to do with the treaty that we just booted out the EU. They're not related.
The Treaty of Lisbon. Now, the other thing is, I mean, I didn't vote in the Brexit, but I supported my partner who felt that she wanted to vote in it. I didn't vote in it because the whole fucking thing's unlawful and we're not in the EU anyway.
Right, it doesn't matter whether it's in a different treaty.
But not everybody knows that, Dave. Not everybody knows that.
Yeah, I know. Well, okay, you're saying it's in another treaty.
I kept on getting laughed at when I was telling people we're not in the EU. So what?
I know. We're already out the EU. I don't care about the Article 50 in another treaty. It's irrelevant. It's totally fucking irrelevant that it's in another treaty. We're out the EU. Don't care. Done. Referendum. Done.
Yeah. The other thing is, the EU wasn't put together by Commonwealth countries.
No, mate. Them Commonwealth countries, right?
It wasn't put together by Commonwealth treaties. Well, you know, since when has France been Commonwealth?
I went through the whole list. France, Germany.
When has Belgium been Commonwealth? When has Germany been Commonwealth?
I need to post you the list, mate. There's 174 countries in the Commonwealth. Oh,
so you're saying Germany belongs to the Commonwealth?
Yes. You wouldn't believe the countries that are part of the Commonwealth. There's very, very few, like Iceland's not.
I'd like to see that piece of paper you've got that says it's part of Commonwealth. That'd be interesting. I'm not saying you ain't got it. I'm not saying it don't exist. I'd like to see it because that'd be very interesting.
Well, I'll have to, you know, it's available on the internet. It's a government published document.
What's it under, Dave?
You know, someone gave me a link to it. I'd have to find it in my email and go and find it again. I know I've got it on. I know I've got it on the machine upstairs, but I'm on my laptop downstairs, so I can't put my hand on it, you know, and send it right now.
Oh, well, if you
but yeah, there's 100. Tell you what I can do. Hang on a minute. I can go through. I can put my hand on.
Just a list of who's in Commonwealth, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, give me 1 minute. I'll look that up.
It's Commonwealth countries, okay. If you go,
I can believe the connection with Germany through the royal family. Obviously, I mean that speaks for itself.
Well, okay, let's talk about the royal family. You know, I've been pushing out a video that dates back to flipping 1947 something, 1957. It's a Queen's speech, first Christmas televised speech, yeah. And in that speech, black and white, Christmas Day, her first ever televised speech on TV, I do not give you law or administer justice. Now, you were talking earlier on, or Dave Mitch was talking earlier on about the royal assent. I do not give you law or administer justice. I do not give you law. There is no royal assent by the Queen to the acts and statutes, because I do not give you law. 1957, words from her mouth. There is no royal assent to the acts and statutes giving us law. I do not give you law. HM, Courts and Tribunal Services, Her Majesty's Courts and Tribunal Services, I do not give you law or administer justice. Right, put this into context. The Queen lives in a stately home. Do we have a Secretary of State, yes or no?
In name.
Yes, we do have a
In name, yes, in name.
Yes, we do have a Secretary of State. What is a state? United States of America. What is a state?
You're meant to believe it's some type of party.
We don't need to believe.
Some type of,
we don't need to believe anything. We've got cast iron.
Well, you're meant to assume then it's some type of body politic, or should we say, can you just have a state without other states? Is that what you're saying?
No, I know exactly what a state is.
You know.
I know definitively what a state is. There's no guesswork here. Not my opinion. It's been confirmed by Shadran Kathuthas, PhD, who is in government office, and the London Institute of Economics. This guy's got PhDs coming out of his ears. He is as high up in their world of shit as a Lord Chief Justice. Okay, you can't get any better credentials in their world than Shadran Kathuthas. And he is now listen to me.
Definition.
Eh?
Are you able to give us the definition?
Yes, I can show you the document. I can send it to you. I fucking published it. I published an affidavit. You must have read the affidavit. No one here's read the affidavit. Well, I know PJ Tilsley has, but you've not read the affidavit. Exhibit C in the affidavit, there is 2 documents.
Yeah, I read that.
Right.
Just go back on to member states. There's only 3 as far as I can research it. It's Cyprus, Malta, and UK.
Okay. Can I send you a file through this application now?
No, but you can screen share if you've got anything on your.
Okay. Let me open up an Excel spreadsheet. It's not the file you're looking for, but it's an Excel spreadsheet. Yeah. Come on. You piece of shit, because I've listed them out with all their email addresses, 174 of them. Right, I need to go and open embassy.sys, embassy.xls, I should say. Right, there, right, how do I get this on screen where you can see it?
There's your green little box on left with that white arrow in it. If you move your mouse over to the left side, it'll appear.
Right, and then pick on that so you can see it. Screen share for Hangouts. There we go. Can you see that now?
Yep, got that.
Right, there's your list with all the email addresses of all the countries in the Commonwealth, taken direct from the government published document, and there is 176 of them. Zimbabwe, no, Arab Emirates, Ukraine, Uganda. You would not believe. Right, now when I say part of the Commonwealth, right, the Commonwealth, there's Australia's in it, governed by the Queen, yeah? Do we get that? That the Queen is the Queen of Australia? Right, comes under the Commonwealth. So all of these countries are occupied countries under Admiralty law, parts of the UK Commonwealth. which includes fucking Germany, if I go up for Germany, Korea, China, New Guinea.
What?
Yeah, China's a part of the Commonwealth. You didn't know that, did you?
No,
Egypt,
I did not.
Republic of Egypt, Cuba, Congo. There you go, Republic of China, number 38.
Ah, that's an email I was looking for. Cheers, Dave.
So where what I was looking for? Belgium. There you go. There's Belgium. I was looking for Germany one time. Hang on a sec. Right. Oh, hang on a minute. C.
Have you got the heading for this?
No, I just compiled. I'm compiling this list for the purpose, for the function, so I can put that in another document. Okay. I'm building a document. I spent
Did you get it off .uk PLC or whatever you want to call it?
Gov.uk.
Yeah.
You want to know where the URL? I don't know the URL for it off the top of my head.
Right, because at the top it's got embassies.
Yeah, I put the word embassy at the top, number 1, because that's an embassy names, and the email address is email list.
Right.
These are all embassies. Embassies of Republic of Albania. These are all in the Commonwealth. These are all UK sub-countries, sub-companies belonging to the UK company. All of them.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. So the link is through the embassies. Is that how they try to, you know? Because I'm trying to go. I don't know shit about this. I'll be honest.
Well, this is why I'm trying to explain it. Okay, I'm trying to explain it from a corporate point of view, because that is exactly what it is. If a company buys out a company, then that is part of that company. Yeah.
Yeah.
When we go and conquer fucking Australia or New Zealand or Japan or fucking China, whatever that is, whether it's done by force of arms or whether it's done by politics, when that country becomes part of the Commonwealth, it is part of the UK company.
Yeah, well, I can understand that, but I didn't know these actual countries were amongst them. I knew Australia, New Zealand.
Yeah, you know about Australia and New Zealand. Yeah, there's 174 of them.
I mean, I actually saw that amount a couple of weeks ago when I was on the gov.org site, and I thought, how come, but I didn't know all the countries.
Well, I was having an argument with my cousin a few weeks back, and he said there's only 50 countries in the Commonwealth. He said, look at this website here, there's only 50 countries on it. I said, no mate, there's a lot more than that. And this other document that this is from, yeah, that came across my visual point a few weeks later.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be using this in another project, but I'm getting away from the point I'm trying to make. Let's just take it right now that all of these countries, Belgium, France, Germany, all of that European shit over there, the comment that was made was that the EU was created by the Commonwealth countries. No, the EU would not exist if it was not a UK company.
Well, it's pretty obvious now. I can see this amount of list with all these different countries.
Right.
I had no clue of the countries.
This is why I see things and know things, because I've been doing this a long time now. Okay, let's not forget who I am and what I do. I'm a computer systems analyst.
Right.
What I do or did for 10 or more years in my daily life is I absorb in a short period of time a fucking huge amount of data. Because I've got to. Yeah.
This makes sense to me, David. Now it's sinking in a little bit. Stav, this is more connected to European Free Alliance, in my opinion, than anything.
Well, yeah, because that's all their offices are in Brussels anyway.
Yeah.
And the European and the Green Party spread.
Okay. When you say European Free Alliance, as being it's Europe, and all of Europe is a UK company, then how could it be a European Free Alliance when it's part of a UK company?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that, Dave. I can see that now.
Yeah.
I mean,
if it wasn't, it wouldn't be fucking allowed to exist.
Exactly.
Exactly. Okay. So go back to what we're saying about the referendum. The EU is a UK company, but we need to get out of that UK company because that UK company is going to go tits up. We have no visibility of the EU going to go tits up until all this fracas on the fucking media about a referendum to get the fucking UK out of the EU. But no one knows that the EU is a fucking UK company that's going to go tits up.
Well, I knew the EU. I mean, I knew it was a company, but I didn't know who was in that company.
Right. All 174 countries. Was it 174? 176 countries are in that EU company. In that UK company. Okay. Go back to the fire in London. Go back to 1666.
Yeah.
You think it was a fire. It was an accident. It was during the fucking plague, you know, all that shit going on. No, mate, that was land clearance. That's when the Roman Empire moved back in, separate state. That's a separate country inside the UK. It's got its own police. And if the Queen goes in there, she's got to dress down. Because that's the big company, okay? That's not called HM Parliaments or Governments fucking PLC or UK flipping limited. That's the bigger company, okay? But this country, the United Kingdom, the land that you're sat on, the land of where we are, this is not an occupied country under Admiralty law. This is a free country. Now, all of these other countries, they're under Admiralty law.
Yeah.
They're occupied countries in the Commonwealth, in the big company. Yeah?
Yeah.
Are you getting it now? So you've got the EU, it's going to go tits up. The government know they've got to get out, but they can't use Article 50, because if they use Article 50, they've got egg on the face and might get their head on a spike because it's cost this country hundreds of fucking billions to be in the EU in 47 years. So they have a fracas but we were talking about the Queen. You know, I said, do we have a Secretary of State, and what is a state? Shadrach Cathuthus has confirmed the fact that a state is a corporate entity, it's a corporation, it's a company. Cast iron, can't get round it, it's a company.
And that I didn't know.
Yes.
I knew this to be true of Ireland, because Ireland, you know, is not a true republic. It's it actually says in the constitution, you know, when they wrote the constitution, that it was to be described as a republic, but it's not a true republic. So I understand what you're saying about this. So this is the same. So we're talking about the sort of three states within states, you know, countries within, you know, like London, Washington,
yeah.
And
the US survey, the US survey, the United States of America would only have their freedom for 17 days. They're not. They are a UK colony.
Yeah, same as I knew that of, but I didn't know of all these other countries. I did know that that it was true of most of the countries that use the bar system as well, isn't it?
All of them.
This is the blinkers that put on us that most of the populace don't know about this.
That's right. Now the question was about the Queen. And the Queen giving royal assent, and I pointed out that video from 1957, and then I pointed out that she lives in a stately home. We have a Secretary of State. This is a company, okay? So the Queen lives in a stately home. She's an officer of the state. She's a company employee. The Queen is no different to the McDonald's fucking clown. She's a company puppet, and that's all.
I can understand that, but I say the populace don't know this, Dave.
No, but it's there blatant and in your face. That's why I keep banging out that video. I keep banging out that video on Facebook every flipping time.
Can you
Anything
send me the link for that, Dave, or direct me to where on Facebook it is?
No, it's actually on YouTube, the video. And if you go to YouTube and type in "I do not give you law," you'll come up. That'll come up straight away.
I do not give you law. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
It was me that edited that out of her original speech. I sat here and edited the fuck out of that and put that little video together, because that's the only bit of her whole speech that means anything. The rest of it's horse shit, smoke and mirrors. I do not give you a law or administer justice. YouTube will find that straight away. It'll come up top of the shot. Black and white picture of the Queen.
I do not give you law.
Yeah.
Right.
So the Queen is a company officer. She's an officer of the state. She's an employee.
So is law only statutes and acts then, Dave?
There is no such thing as law.
So, Dave, who are you saying that is the head of the state? Are you talking about Rome here again? All roads lead to Rome.
All roads lead to Rome. Yes, we've got a UK government, but they're controlled by the inner city, the inner temple.
Yeah. Do you know? I mean, it's funny this because like a few years ago, I don't know how I ended up doing it, but I ended up doing this. Just got fascinated about the post office, believe it or not, and
Universal Post.
Yeah, the postal system. Well, I tell you what started it off. I was looking at this video on free energy, and then I got in my mind. I thought to myself, I wonder how in them days did the with the telegraph poles, how they got the messages across with, what did they use for electricity? And then that got me onto the post office. And then, God, that was a rabbit hole and a half because, talking about the Postmaster Generals.
That's a big hole there, the Postmaster, yeah.
It is. Yeah, the Postmaster Generals. And now I can see what you're saying about, because the Postmaster Generals all over the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, they earn more money than the president.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. It's a fascinating hole, that one. I know, yeah. I know what you're saying now, yeah.
And it was in Switzerland, but I heard the other day, and I don't know if it's true, it's a rumour, that it's now in the head office in Germany. It's not in Switzerland anymore. So and that's why Switzerland was never dragged into any war, because the Universal Post Office headquarters was in Switzerland. Yeah, they can't be in a war. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Not because the banks, the Swiss banks, got nothing to do with it. It's Universal Post Office.
Does Rome supremacy trump the Magna Carta?
Magna Carta's bollocks. Bin that. Get that shit out your head. That's a fucking wild.
That'll be the Magna Carta. Yeah, that's just the same as like sort of the Irish Republic. Like the sort of constitution here, or any constitution like the American, isn't it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Think about the word constitution. Right. Let's go to the American Constitution. 50 senators signed a constitution in I think it was 1766. Don't quote me on the date. I think that's what it was. Yeah. Okay. So 50 people decided they give themselves permission to create all the laws and rip the fuck out the back out of all the American people. But them 50 people were actually assassinated in the first 12 months. If you go and read the history books, okay, that's real. So 50 people that were dead in 1766-67 signed a constitution. Now, if you start a company, you've got a company constitution. A constitution is a living document by the people that signed it. So you've got all the people standing there. I pledge my allegiance to the flag and the constitution for which it stands. Hang on a minute. The 50 people that signed the constitution are dead guys. Fucking right. So there's no constitution. So now edit the fucking line. I pledge my allegiance to the flag. The end.
Yeah.
And people are making a claim, I've got a constitutional right. No, you fucking haven't, dickhead. You didn't sign the document. Fuck off. And that's why they're getting screwed. You can't make a claim that you've got a constitutional right under a contractual agreement when you never signed the fucking contracts.
I'm gobsmacked.
You gobsmacked. Right, are we getting it?
I'm not surprised after the post office stuff. To be honest with you, I'm not at all. Yeah.
So, British Constitution. No, we don't have a constitution in this country. We have acts and statutes. Parliament reigns supreme. No, it fucking doesn't. Now, my mate Pete McDowell, my other compadre in arms. Okay, me and him get together in a room. There is magic shit happens when me and him get together in a room. He's currently going to, and I give him so much shit about this at the time. He's actually in his 3rd year law degree in Cumbria. Yeah. And he picked up in Cumbria because his ex-partner's there with his kid. So, you know, he wants to be closer to home because he's got 50% custody of the kid. So he's got a place up in Cumbria. He's taking his law degree. And one of the heads of faculty in that college is a lady. Don't ask me her name. I'm shit with names. She was one of the youngest female barristers ever invited to the bar and got the bar exam. But she's not a barrister anymore because now she's head of faculty. And she's doing her stuff at the beginning, at the front of the class. Okay? This is straight up. Pete told me about this. About Parliament reigning supreme. Now, Pete's the older student. There's 2 or 3 older students in that class where the others are in like the 20s and don't know fuck all. Pete's switched on as it gets. And she's saying that Parliament reigns supreme, you know? And if Parliament passed a law in France, like you can't smoke in the street, then you can't smoke in the street, that's it, you're done. And it wasn't Pete that piped up, it was another lady, another girl, older person in the room saying, hang on a minute, she said. How is it the Parliament reigns supreme? We need to know the mechanics of this. Why is it the Parliament reigns supreme? She said, and then she went into hypothetical. She said, if Scotland was an independent country, which it's not, we know, but if it was, and it's got its own parliament, she said, therefore, there's a peer-to-peer relationship. And, you know, if Parliament in Scotland created a law, would that have influence over the UK? She said, no. She said, Parliament in the UK reigns supreme. She said, well, in that case, if that's got its own government, equal peer-to-peer relationship, and we pass a law in this country, she's using the word law, it's an incorrect word, it's an act or statutes, then would that influence Scotland? Yes, because Parliament reigns supreme. And then that's when Pete McDowell jumped in, and he ruined this woman in her own classroom. He went to town. Are we still here? Because the sound's gone weird. Hello?
Yep, still here.
Okay. Because it was like the flipping, the telephone line's got a hiss on it and the hiss disappeared. I thought I'd gone offline. So he laced into this woman about the methodology and the practical application. What's the mechanics of how and why Parliament reigns supreme? And she said, well, because everyone says so. Now, hang on a minute. This is a faculty head lecturer of a law university who's a fully fucking barristered up, yeah? And the only answer that she's got is because everyone said so.
Well, I don't feel like a naughty schoolboy not knowing now. Then, if that's the case, if she don't know,
well, that's just it. She don't fucking know. This is how indoctrinated these people are into their fucking shit narrative that's been going on for decades, hundreds of years, that they can't think and see fucking straight. They are literally that indoctrinated because everyone said so. That was her answer. And Pete McDowell fucking ruined her in front of the class. The whole class is looking at him because that's what Pete McDowell does. He doesn't give a shit. He'll fucking rip you a new asshole there and then on the spot. And he's done that. I can tell you a number of times where Pete McDowell has ruined the faculty at the university on what they're saying because they are that indoctrinated. So the fact is this, law. And you can use this one paragraph to gut any lawyer, any barrister, not just in this country, across the world. And all you say is this: you can create law and impose that law upon another by an act of force, because that would be a willful and belligerent act of terrorism by default. So no one can create law and impose that law upon another by an act of force, because that is an act of terrorism. So there's a formal requirement before there can be law that circa 64.2 million people in this country have formally agreed as to what the law is and signed the big book of law. Where the fuck is it? Can someone tell me where it is? I don't know where it is. I never signed it. Did you sign it? Have 64.2 million people signed it? No. And that's why Parliament does not reign supreme. Okay? You can create law. Okay, let's change the word law. You can create law, act, statute, legislative rule, and impose that law, act, statute, or legislative rule on another by an act of force. No, you can't, because that would be a willful and belligerent act of terrorism. So there's a formal requirement, governed by consent, policed by consent. There's a formal requirement that circa 64.2 million people have formally agreed and signed and given their consent to be governed. And if you can't find that piece of paper, 64.2 million people have been to dentist. 64.2 million people have signed a consent form at the dentist. So where's that piece of paper? Because without that, none of the acts and statutes can be given force of law.
Yeah.
Definition of a statute in the law dictionaries is this: a statute is a legislative rule given force of law by, and that's a dependency. If there's nothing after dependency, then the legislative rule cannot be given force of law, by the consent of the governed. So, as being as there's no material evidence that 64.2 million people have given their consent, then the statutes cannot be given force of law. No force can be used. Now, I won that case at tribunal in 2013 on the 30th of May, published. Been racking it out there for 3 3/4 years. People aren't paying attention, because that fucks the judiciary up. They've got no authority. The government have got no authority. You cannot have a government where there's no governed. I'm waving my hands about here. Can you still see me?
No, it's just
no. Okay, let me turn that off. I speak a lot with my hands. There we go. How's that working? You no.
Yeah.
I'm on. You got me. Okay. I work a lot with my hands. So where there's no governed, there can be no government, because if that's not there, that doesn't exist.
That makes sense.
Right. So where there's no material evidence of any governed, then there can't be a government. Gone. So does Parliament reign supreme? Does it fuck?
So basically, we've got no law in this country.
No, there's never been any law. Law is an illusion, smoke and mirrors, by the gods of smoke and mirrors, which is the Roman Empire. Nothing to do with Roman Catholic Church, the Roman Empire.
And the Roman Empire ceased to be a long time ago.
No, they came back into this country in 1666 with the Battle of London. They're running the show and have been, always have been. And you'll see it in the crest. The Roman, the laurel wreath.
Laurel, yeah.
Yeah, the laurel wreath.
Yeah, it was in 1666, you know, with the fire of London, that it started with the birth certificates, wasn't it? That you had, is this right? Like you had 7 years to make it let known that you're alive and not dead.
Well, you know, it's the thing is this: it wasn't me that won that case at the tribunal. It was Mr. David Ward, the legal person, that won that case at tribunal. So birth certificate or not. Yeah. What is a birth certificate? Right. A certificate of incorporation. You start a business, Bill and Ben's Flower Pots Landscape Gardening Limited. Acts of registration, return address. The address existed Someone thought up a name, wrote it on a piece of paper, sent it to company's house. That's the act of registration. Yeah? Mum and dad thought up a name, wrote it down on a piece of paper, sent it to the registry office. There's your act of registration. Company's house sends back to the address which pre-existed the business a certificate saying your company has been registered. So the certificate is not the company, the application is not the company, the return address is not the company. So where's the company that you can pick up, touch and feel?
Non-existent.
Right, does not exist. Mr. David Ward, the legal person, legal embodiment by an act of registration on the company's HM Parliaments of Governments PLC. I'm calling it PLC. I've got to stop saying that. I used to say that. HM Parliaments of Governments State Company, General Registry Office, the GRO, gets registered. There's your act of registration. That's not the man. Then there's the certificate saying the act of registration, that's your birth certificate. So the same process, there is a peer-to-peer relationship. Mr. David Ward is equal to, but not greater than, or less than, HM Parliaments of Governments Company State. And it's Mr. David Ward that went into that tribunal and won that case. Not me, the man. I did it on paper. Sign a document. Post. Didn't phone him up. Didn't go. The Mr. David Ward, legal person, has got a peer-to-peer relationship with HM Parliaments of Governments State Company. Yeah? And there is no obligation because 64.2 million people never formally agreed and gave their consent to be governed. And that's why I won the case. That case, that example of recognition of the facts, confirmed and signed by Scott Clark, confirms the fact that 64.2 million people carry no obligations whatsoever under the millions of acts and statutes of Parliament. Bin, trash can, gone, cast iron, can't be rejected, can't be rebutted, done in a state recognised tribunal court. Done. They're fucked. From that point on, the government is fucked. The judiciary is fucked. The judiciary is a sub-office of the same company. That was confirmed by Lord Chief Justice Sir Jack Beatson, FBA, at the Nottingham-Trent University in 2008. Words from his mouth. Now, how often does a Lord Chief Justice go and visit a university to give a speech? Now, if you're a student at the university and the boss man's coming to town and you're not in that auditorium, you're tapped in the fucking head because the boss man's come to town. And if you've not got any aspirations to be the Lord Chief Justice, you should not be in that university. That's a big day in the day of Nottingham and Trent University. Because if you're not in that auditorium and you're the faculty or you're a student, then you need a bullet in the head. And those were his words, second paragraph in his presentation, that he stated, due to the change in 2003, it became necessary to reevaluate the relationship between the judiciary and the two stronger arms of the state, the legislative and the executive. He's confirmed, verbally, published, it's on the judiciary's website. If you type into Google, Lord Chief Justice, SBA speeches, and look down the list and find judicial independence, there's your document, it's still there today. Now think about that. All these years, and Lord Chief Justice has just given the facts away and confirmed the facts that the government, that the judiciary office, there's no separation of powers. The judiciary office is a sub-office of the same company below the executive office, which is the servant's office to the principal legal embodiment. That's right at the top. You've got the principal legal embodiment equal to Mr. David Ward. Then you've got the Office of Executive Office, David Cameron's office, well, Theresa May's office. Then you've got the Office of Legislation, Legislative Office, and then you've got the Office of the Judiciary. So the judge has got no more authority than the janitor at McDonald's. How simple does it need to get? How simple does that need to get? I published that.
Getting back to your list, Dave, of the countries. How many was there?
I think it was 174. Hang on a minute. I'll close the file down.
174, 176.
It might have been 176. Let me go and have another look. 176. Hey, we're not going to argue about two.
Okay, well, okay, there's only 196 countries in the world.
Well, 176 of them belong to the UK.
Can you name me the 20 that are not a member of the UK PLC, as you put it?
Well, Iceland is one. I know that. My window cleaner was sat next to me, and he's not the sharpest knife in the book, but he actually came up with 3 or 4 others the other day, but I don't know whether he was talking about, yeah, my window cleaner.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what are the 20 countries, don't you think?
Is Luxembourg in there? Because I think you said Luxembourg. Hang on a minute, let me have a look. Paul MNOPQI. It's IJKL. Let's go back. Lithuania.
Why are you checking all that? Let me just play the short 3-minute video, yeah?
Okay.
It's a new one that's just come to me.
So we'd have to have a list of countries and do an extrapolation and cross reference.
Yeah, just wondered, that's all. There might be one interesting country that's quite obvious, but never.
Well, yeah, I would be interested in one of them countries that's not part of the UK Commonwealth, and that is not part of the IMF.
Well, there may be one in there.
Because I want to open a bank account there.
Can you see from my screen?
No, nothing at the moment, PJ. Just a black.
Yeah, that's what it should be, yeah. Is that it?
Yeah.
You are hired, yes. You're going to flip when you see the job that Donald Trump just gave Mr. Brexit. Danny Gold for Liberty Writers reports, oh, trust me, you will flip with joy, that is. He states Donald Trump may have just become America's next president, but that in no way means he is slowing down. Yes, they write here that, in fact, Trump is about to speak to Mr. Brexit himself and offer him one of the biggest jobs America has to offer in the world. Nigel Farage will be Trump's ambassador to Europe. Holy cow. They write here, the news broke when a reporter asked Farage why he was already heading to the United States to meet Trump. He said, is he going to offer me a job? I'm hoping he might do. He will be in need of a proper Eurosceptic ambassador in Brussels for the European Union. I would rather like that job. This is going to be good, my friends. This is going to be good. Oh, this is awesome. Nigel Farage, the ambassador to the European Union. Gold writes, yes. I absolutely love the idea. Not only is Nigel Farage one of the best politicians and debaters in the world right now,
well, I'm going to hold it there because it's juddering around. So, but that you've got basic message. So that's first alarm bell for me.
What do you mean an alarm bell? In what sense, PJ? You have to give us a bit more than that.
Well, I were always a bit dubious about any. You know, I'm on side of what David's trying to explain. I don't think you can ever get it from this system. It has to be an
What is it you want? What is it? Hang on. What is it you're talking about? What is it? What is it? What you're talking about? It.
Freedom.
You're not going to get it.
Well, that's it.
Freedom from what? Freedom from what?
Well, you've only got a dichotomy in system, haven't you? So you can't really expect anything more. Now, your freedom of yourself, whatever you want it to be.
I mean,
of course, but then you don't need any of these people. You don't need any of them. You don't need Donald Trump. You don't need me. You don't need Dave sat there in a chair. You don't need anybody.
PJ,
absolutely no one.
Is that
you do need me. You've got to have me. I'll spit my dummy out.
Yes, but Dave, you know I'm right. You know I'm right.
I know you're right. We don't need any of these tossers. Farage is a joke.
I know, but what I'm saying is, we all individually don't need anybody to tell us what to do.
Well, Farage was the person who once said, you could all correct me, that he maybe not termed it like this himself, but he didn't like the idea of immigrants interfering. And what he's done is he's gone straight over to America and done that. Just interfered.
Basically, yeah, you're saying basically Farage is a hypocrite.
Yeah, but
he's been invited. Hang on, he's been invited.
Oh, right,
he's been invited, just like the Russians have been invited into Syria, but nobody says, well, they're interfering.
Yeah,
well, they were invited.
That's the puppet show.
Exactly, Dave.
That's the puppet
show.
So
what does it matter? What does it matter? That's what I'm saying. What does any of it matter? None of it really matters.
No. Well, it does. It matters because we're still paying for these dickheads.
Well, what are you paying them with?
I'm not paying. I'm not paying them at all these days. I've cancelled everything.
Oh, there you go. You know, if we all wake up tomorrow and realise that the whole world is, you know, it's just a dream. Well, I'm glad I'm just in charge of myself, and we all get on together, and everybody knows there's only one authority, and that's just themselves over themselves. Let's all be responsible now and do the right thing.
That's right.
Yeah, that you know, then that'd be great.
It would. It'd be paradise because, you know, the government's ripping your back out of you for 85% of your gross. You know, you're going to have to work flipping 2.5 hours a week to stay as you are. Work 4 hours a week. Hey, stupendous. You've got prosperity coming out your ears.
But
that's how quickly things would turn around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, let's took my mark off there. Yeah, this is something that's just been sent to me from Marty Leeds.
Sorry.
All right, guys.
I didn't mean to.
I'm always interested in this sort of stuff. Although I'm not the best person to explain it. But this is apparently, it's if you put Donald Trump and work it out, we just check on the. He said his name encodes the proportions of the Great Pyramid of Giza. So this is it. And it also works out to be 666.
Does that mean anything?
It does to a lot of people looking at that.
Oh dear.
I did ask him for his thoughts, by the way, Marty Leeds, and that's his response.
What are we going to debate about, right? We're all free individuals, right? We all know we're free. There's only one authority, ourselves. Now, what we're going to talk about?
I don't debate. I'm right and every fucking else is wrong.
I never said debate. I said what we're going to talk about. I didn't say debate. Talk about it.
Excuse me.
You're bending it.
I nearly choked myself then.
I mean, we could talk about the weather, couldn't we? I mean, we could talk about... I don't know.
No,
we're all free now. We're all free.
What we need to talk about is what we're going to do about it. You know, we can talk forever. And that's what cracks me up all day long. And I spent some serious time on Facebook, okay? Since my revelations a few years back, I pulled out all the fucking stops and nailed everything on the head and screamed my fucking head off on Facebook for more than 3 years, and no one's paying any attention. You know, everyone's there bitching on Facebook all day long, millions of fucking people, but all they're doing is talking, talk.
What name do you come under on Facebook, please, Dave?
Baron David Ward.
I've lost my pen. Hold on. Right.
You sat in front of a computer. You've got a text pad.
Another article I've got, which I want to share.
I'm old school like you.
Another gem, PJ.
Hey?
Barry David
Another gem.
Baron David Ward, yeah.
Another gem, yeah.
But the thing is, everyone's talking and no one's doing anything.
Explain this one for me, David, then. How is Donald Trump able to file for bankruptcy so many times?
Because he's in the executive office of the company. He's a senator. You can get, because he's in that executive office. Okay, go back to the model that I explained, where you've got the executive office and then you've got the legislation, the acts of statutes, or whatever it is over in the USA, and then you've got the office of the judiciary. He's in the executive office. He cannot see or hear, and that stuff below him in his office can have any effect on him. So he can do what the fuck he likes. It's got nothing to do with any acts and statutes or any of the legislation in the USA. He can do what the fuck he likes in that office. He can put a bullet to your head, and there's nothing that the office of the judiciary or the legislation can do to him. That's why. This is why the office of the police is in the executive office. You know, 5,000 deaths in police custody puts the office, and with no fault found, you know, because the judiciary has not got authority over anyone in the executive office. So that's all your MPs, all your borough councillors, all your police. All of these people are exempt from the acts and statutes. It does not apply to them. They can do what the fuck they like. And that includes put a bullet in your head, and we have got no means of redress for that. 5,000 deaths in police. I'm not talking about people in jail, in police custody. They're published figures by the office of the police. So the police are in that executive office. They can do what the fuck they like. Put a bullet in your head, no fault found. In the street, boom, you're dead. Have a nice day. No one can use the judiciary to bang that copper up or put him in jail. Your local borough council, you just think of it as the local borough council. You think of the local borough council as a sub-office of government. No, it's not a sub-office. It's the local authority office in the executive office. That's in the executive office. So your CEO and your secretary of your local borough council can do what the fuck they like. And when they walk into the courtroom saying, this geezer's not paid his council tax, wants a liability order, well, the judiciary don't sign any liability orders, we know this, but the boss man's telling the judge what to do. Because he's a sub-officer. He's a fucking janitor. Magistrates don't know jack shit. They're not legally trained. They haven't got a fucking brain between them. They do what they're fucking told. But they don't actually apply for a liability order in the courtroom. They ask the magistrates to grant the application for a liability order. I nearly fell about laughing in fits on the floor when I went to my magistrate's court for council tax, because I'm walking in there and it was actually on the desk with the file that I won at tribunal saying none of your acts and statutes apply to me, monkey boy. You know, unless you can provide 64.2 million signed consent to the government. I placed that file on the court before I went in. And when I walked in that courtroom, knowing that I'm going to rip the fuckers to pieces and embarrass the crap out of them and have a laugh, that file was on the magistrate's desk. Wrong desk. That file should be on the because he's not qualified. He can't read the content of that file. It's got fuck all to do with him. that file should be on the justice, the clerk of the court's desk, because he's the one that advises the magistrates. He's the ones that got qualifications. So my file, my brown envelope being on the magistrate's desk, I walked in, clocked that straight away. I'm thinking, uh-oh, what's going on here? That means the guy in the clerk of the justice's seat is not a clerk of justice, he's an imposter. Well, that's a criminal offence in their world.
Yeah.
That's
David,
what I can put. Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you'd finished.
So, no. So I immediately started listening to what's going on. Okay. So then this woman from the council takes the stand and takes the oath. I thought, that's interesting. She took the oath, knowing that that's bollocks as well. But she took the oath. I know it's a dog and pony show, but she took the oath. And then she said her words were that the council made a determination that Mr. David Ward was liable for the non-payment of council tax. And I thought, outstanding. You've just perjured yourself under oath. Because the council is the office. She didn't say the councillors, as in people. She didn't say Stephen Brumed, the CEO. She did not say Linton Green, the secretary. She did not name someone as a living and breathing person. She said the council. So the office that's made of bricks and mortar,
yeah, I can see that
does not have the capability to make a determination, has made a determination. So she's perjured herself under oath. Yeah? Clocked on that straight away because I'm as sharp as fuck. I'll listen to words. Excuse me. So,
sorry, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, you'll piss yourself. Let me get to the end of this. You'll piss yourself. So she gives her speech. Clock that. I've clocked the fact that my file is on the wrong desk. Clock the fact that the clerk of the justice is not a clerk of the justice, it's a monkey boy. Clock the fact that she's just perjured herself under oath. I've not said anything yet. And then the magistrate picks up my file, the brown envelope, and asks me to quantify or what's this presentation you want to make. So I did my 10-15 minute speech, you know, in the way that I would ruin the fuckers. So you've got, you know, unless you can present to me here the 64.2 million signed and form of consents to govern, then Mr. David Ward has no obligation under your local government finance act. You're done. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. And then they disappeared off into the room, and then they come back again in the performance dog and pony show they do. And then the magistrate waffles on shit about the necessity for tax for the fire brigade and the police, etc. And then he turned to Sarah Pye, looked her straight in the eye, and said, the court grants your application for a liability order. Those are his words verbatim. Now, you can make an application to me for a ticket to the moon. I will grant every application you send. The court only granted the application for a liability order. Didn't grant a liability order, granted an application for a liability order. There's never been a liability order for council tax ever in the history of this country. Does not exist. I nearly fell about laughing on the floor. Seriously. This is the performance they put on in their courtrooms. But don't forget that courtroom belongs to the council. That's the executive office, the local authority office, called the Borough Council, is the executive office, 2 offices above the office of the judiciary, which is the magistrate's court. So they tell the court what to do. They are the boss of the court. And it's a private internal company court. So it's a private company like McDonald's. They're having a private company conference. You go to their office. Yeah. You've agreed to be judged by walking into their office, their private company office, where you've got the janitor as a judge who's got no more authority than the janitor at McDonald's. That's the fracas. That's the farce of what people are doing. People keep running into these courts all day fucking long.
So the tennis court has got more authority as those so-called courts.
Oh, yeah. It's not a court of law. It's got fuck all to do with law. 64.2 million people have not agreed to what the law is. There's no law. How simple is it getting now to defeat this? We've got all this material evidence that cannot be challenged. It stands as cast iron. You've got Chadrin Cathuthus, top dude in their office, PhD. You've got Jack Beatston, Lord Chief Justice, top dude in his office. No one can contest his word. I'll say he's wrong. If you want to say the Lord Chief Justice is wrong, Muppet boy, then go ahead. He's your boss. Yeah. And you've got the case won at tribunal. 64.2 million people, confirmed by Scott Clark, got no obligations under your act. You've got 3 cast iron pieces of paper there, 2 of them provided by the government directly itself that you can download from their websites, 1 provided by me because I've won that in their courtroom, that destroys them completely, destroys them. Ruby. He who makes the claim carries the obligation to present the material substance of the claim. So anyone making a claim under an act or statute carries an obligation to present to me the 64.2 million signed consent to the government. If you can't do that, then you have formally agreed that your claim is fraudulent in nature, which is fraud by misrepresentation, which is a known criminal offence, carries a term of incarceration of 7 to 10 years, or the latter where there's multiple instances of, and that Mr. Shitface in his position in his office has also formally agreed to stand for commercial charges to the same degree. I nail their candy ass with that multiple fucking hundreds of times. Every fucking document that comes through the door. Shitload of paperwork, published to death. No one paid attention to it. No one read the file. Cast iron, can't fail. Guaranteed every time. No point of failure. Engineers do not have points of failure. I'm an engineer, pipe fitter welder, electrical electronics, computer systems analyst. We do not fail. If we failed, if we are allowed to fail, you've not got power stations, you've not got cars, you've not got phones, you've not got computers, you've got houses that falls down, planes that fall out the sky. Everyone would still be living in the field with the cows and the sheep and eating grass. Engineers do not fail because we eliminate all points of failure. This is how we work. This is how we think. So you eliminate all the points of failure. You've got cast iron boxed off process. Job done. Sorted. It's been since 2013. I did the affidavit and served it on 657 MPs in office at the beginning of 2015. That's an affidavit statement of truth and facts. If you can't disprove the consent, then you've agreed to it by default. There's another document. It's a formal document and it's published. There's a formal agreement there with every MP in office that the consent of this affidavit is facts. How many more times have I got to do this? It's a piece of piss. This is simple. It's fucking easy. Why are people running around in circles thinking what they're going to do next? It's done. It's done. Ruined. I published up a classic the other day because it was made clear to me. I forgot why or how. Well, actually, it did. The penny dropped, you know. There's a camp up at Woolster. There's a place called Woolster local to me. It's an anti-fracking camp. They are blatantly aggravated trespass on Peel Holdings land. Peel Holdings are a fucking big company. And they've leased some of that land out to the fracking companies, yeah? Mm-hmm. And Peel Holdings went to the Chancery Court in the High Court in Manchester to make an application to the court to do repossession on the land. And the judge was Lord Norris of the County Palatine. Now, he's the direct descendant of one of the 12 kings of England. He can fuck the Queen off. This is a top knob in their fucking shit. So this is the application that the big boys, you know, you've got 3 temple secretaries and a temple barrister from the inner inn in that courtroom. What fucking chance have we got? You know, ruined. And Lord Norris with his own crest, with his own, you're not the Mont Bleu flipping Queen's crest. It's got his crest on the wall. Yeah. And I sat there looking at it thinking, that's not right. There's something wrong with that crest. And Pete McDowell, he sat there looking at it thinking, there's something not fucking right with that crest. And it didn't tumble for a while. I mean, I'm at the back in the public gallery, and Pete McDowell's is a Mackenzie friend for a geezer that we dragged off the camp to fucking stand, yeah? Otherwise, you're just going to get walks over. And we didn't argue with the claim. No. I mean, Pete McDowell went in as a Mackenzie friend, but Pete McDowell's well known in the. If Pete McDowell walks into the Justice Centre in Manchester High Courts, the secretary across the way from the security coming in, she's picking up the phone every time. I've seen it happen because he's known in that place. Everyone knows his face. So if Pete McDowell walks into that building, the phone gets picked up. The security's called straight away. So Pete McDowell walks into the Lord Norris's flipping courtroom, not expecting to get the capability to speak. Okay, but Pete McDowell's known. So Lord Norris extended an invitation to Pete McDowell, so that Pete's not telling this other guy that hasn't got a fucking clue what to say, just to save time. And Pete McDowell did not challenge their claim in no way. Of course, Peel have got the right to make this application, my lord. And of course, my lord has got the right to make a judgment. We're not challenging your judgment. No, that's fine, my lord. That's happy days. We just want to make a point of clarity, my lord. They said we realise that you're making a judgment on you can make that judgment on to grant the Peel Holdings the right of possession. We're not arguing that point. We want a point of clarity on is the Lord Norris going to also sign a warrant of eviction at the same time? And 3 Temple secretaries' heads and a Temple barrister turned and looked at Pete McDowell. And this is nearly 2 years ago. Okay? And Lord Norris said, I would expect my orders to be undertaken in the usual way. In other words, no, I'm not going to sign a warrant of eviction. Because Lord Norris knows, and Lord Norris knows that Pete McDowell will be looking for that warrant if there's any force used on that site. And Lord Norris knows he cannot implement force in a civil matter, because if you implement force in a civil matter, then that's an act of terrorism. And that's when 3 Temple secretaries and a Temple barrister turned and glared and burns a fucking hole through Pete McDowell. And nearly 2 years later, no one touches them people on that site. They're in contempt of court. And it's not just an ordinary Mickey Mouse County Court. This is a high chancery court. Lord Norris got the finger. Have a nice day, monkey boy. And then that camp is still there. Wooden huts and all. And no one can touch them boys. They're in contempt of court, and it's aggravated trespass on Peel land. And Peel Holdings, multi-billion-pound company, can't do fuck all about it. How blatant, it's simple as that. That'll save everyone's house. Every fucker's house in the country can be saved on that one point. Because the bank and the court cannot implement an act of force in a civil matter. And a bank repossession of a house is a civil matter. How simple is that? Yeah. There was 2 criminal warrants for my arrest at the beginning of the year. Criminal. I know what one of them was for. I haven't got a clue what the second was for. There was two criminal warrants for my arrest. It was the first one was
To be a criminal, you've got to have law, haven't you?
Well, these are the people in Trump's
hang on, how could they exist, though? How could they don't exist, do they? Because there's no law. So there's no criminal nothing, is there?
But as far as they're concerned,
that's bullshit, isn't it?
Yeah, we know it's bullshit. I know that
So
them warrants don't exist.
But they don't exist, do they?
Well, they don't exist. The judge never signs the warrant.
So
I know
give them any credence? Why give them any credence?
Right, there was 4 thugs trying to kick my door in. Well, they didn't kick my door in. Okay, on the back end of November last year, there's 4 thugs. You know, I looked through the crack in the blinds. I thought, I don't like your body language. If I open up, I'm not scared of opening my door. If you've seen the video footage of me ruining the fucking sergeant, I'm not scared of opening my door. But I looked at their body language and I thought, they're fucking animals. I ain't opening that door. 4 thugs. Heavy fucking dudes. I don't know who they are. They're not the police. Right. That put me in a state of fear.
Right.
Because I don't know where I'm going. I know I've hurt this fucking company and I've hurt them bad. I've ruined these fucking people. They want to fucking gun me down. So
they don't need any warrants then, really. They don't need none of that. They can just bang your door down, come and drag you out, beat you up, and put you in prison, basically.
Well, in principle, yeah, they can. But no, they can't.
Yeah.
No,
they can't.
So let me tell you how I dealt with those criminal warrants. In their world of shit, they got 2 criminal warrants for my arrest. We know it's shit. I'm not disputing the fact that we know it's shit, okay? In their world of shit, they've got 2 criminal warrants for my arrest. I went on the run for 6 weeks, 7 weeks. Came back home end of January. With intent. Didn't go to court. Them warrants don't exist anymore. How the fuck did I do that? No one's chasing me down.
Well, they just got some guys together and they said, there's some money. You go and drag this old fella out of his house and beat him up and drag him down here. That's how it's done.
That's how it's done, but they're not trying to do that anymore. Them criminal warrants have gone. They can't touch me now. Can't touch me now. Right. Like the same guys on at Woolston, on Peel Land, they cannot be touched. Them 2 criminal warrants have gone. Don't exist anymore, and I cannot be touched. How did I do that? I didn't
without conceding consent, without consenting to any of it, basically.
Well, if you don't do anything, they're going to come and drag you out the house, use force, bang you up in jail, pummel the fuck out of you, probably kill you. 5,000 deaths in police custody.
Yeah.
So what did I do?
Right.
I did do something. What was it I did?
Well, in this particular case, they obviously didn't get in to drag you out.
Well, no, they didn't.
Would a warrant or issuing a warrant make any difference?
Well, the warrant's fake. We know the warrant's fake.
Yeah, I know. But what I'm saying is the scenario is they obviously didn't get in to drag you out. Yeah, is that what you're saying?
Well, on that particular day, you know, they are the High Court fucking Sheriff's Office. They have got a protocol to attend to. If they believed or heard a noise or saw a light go on and thought I was in the house, they would have come through the door. In a heartbeat. They would have used the doorbuster.
It wouldn't have mattered whether they had a warrant or not. They were coming to get you, yeah?
Right, okay. They would have come through that door if they thought I was in the house. But because there was no visibility of me in the house, they still have to follow their brain dead fucking protocols. Don't forget, these people are brain fucking dead. They know what their protocols are. If there's no visibility of me in the house, they can't break the fucking door down on an empty house. That's their protocol.
Well, basically, yeah, well, that's right. Well, basically, in a way, you just turned around and you said no. Okay?
No, that's not what I did.
No. If everybody said no, they wouldn't have a leg to stand on, would they?
That's not what I did. I didn't turn around and say no. If they'd have seen me, I'd have been disappeared in the fucking van. Dead.
I know that. That's what I'm saying. But I'm just saying, at the end of the day, if everybody just turns around now, before they get arrested, before they get dragged away, before they have a threat of being dragged away, or they're going to send their go drag, if everybody just walked out and said now, no, they wouldn't. That's it. It's gone.
If everybody, okay, let me put that to bed.
Everything is gone. This is something we've known since we were children. Right,
I know this. You know this. 64 million people as dumb as a box of fucking rocks. So let's put that to bed right now. If 64 million people decide to say no, they don't actually have to say no. They phone up the fucking bank and cancel all the direct debits, and their house of fucking cards crashes and burns. Right, it's that simple. Don't even have to say no. Cancel the direct debit, job done.
Yeah. Well, I've done all that.
Well, so have
I. Yeah. They're all gone. Everything. It's all gone.
Everything. Yeah. But
yeah, the whole lot.
My question to you was, what was it that I did? What was it that I did? I did do something.
I ain't got a clue. Can you tell us?
Yeah, I'm fucking bursty to tell you. Okay? I didn't let them fucking see me for one thing, and then I went on the run for 7 weeks, and then I came back, and then I did something. Because I know that the office of the police is in the executive office. And I know that they've got an obligation in their office, not to me. They've got no obligations to me. Mr. David Ward is a separate company. So they've got no obligations to me. But they've got an obligation in their office. One is crime prevention. They cannot adjudicate. They've got no capability to adjudicate. That's not in their mandated performance. But they've got an obligation in their office to suppress an act of terrorism which is under their jurisdiction. So I put together a big record file, because don't forget, this is all to do with council tax. So Sarah Pye got Leanne where she's agreed that she's a criminal. Timothy Day is Borough Council's lawyer. He agreed he's a criminal. Joanne A. Smith, she agreed she's a criminal. And then you've got two people from, was it Scotts and Stout? No, not Scotts and Stout. The other one, I forgot. Debt collection company. Yeah, two more files confirming that they are criminals. And then I've got June McAteer, the distribution manager for HMCTS Runcorn, where she made a claim that there was an order, whatever order it was, yeah, for me to pay. And I said, well, show me your order. Send me a copy. You say you got it, send it to me. Oh, you've not got it? Right, here's a lien where you've agreed that you've committed fraud. And then there was A. Callister, who's the warrant manager, saying, I've got a warrant for your arrest. I said, right, send it to me. But if you don't, then you've agreed that your claim is fraud and malfeasance and willful and belligerent acts of terrorism. I compiled all 7 of those files, compiled them into one. 177 pieces of paper, double print, duplex printed. And then I put a letter together to the Chief of Police, Simon Bynes. And I went through the whole 9 yards. The Jack Beatston, the Chad Venkathuthas, the fact that there's 5,000 deaths in police office, given a decompartmentalized Simon Bynes, and then said, look, monkey boy, you've got a problem in your office. Get it fucking sorted out. And he did. Didn't go to court. I sent a letter to Simon Bynes, gave him a report, cast iron documents, cannot be rebutted, that give him an obligation in his office to suppress what is a civil matter. It's a civil matter. And there can be no use of force in a civil matter. I haven't had a document, a piece of paper, a dicky bird from HM Courts and Tribunal Services in Runcorn from that day to this. Nothing. No one kicking my door in, no one trying to arrest me. Gone. Gone. That's how simple this is.
So let's just think about Assange for a minute then, because it's quite important. I don't think any obviously we've touched on Assange. What's your thoughts on Assange?
Well, Assange is a company puppet. Okay, let's talk about Assange. I love this guy. Oh, you know, this I find him fascinating in his audacity because he's WikiLeaks. Assange is WikiLeaks, isn't he?
Yeah, well, without WikiLeaks and several other hackers, I don't think Trump would have made it. But
yeah, okay. So Assange is WikiLeaks. I want to make that connection that people know he's WikiLeaks. WikiLeaks, and then you've got this guy Snowden. What was his first name?
Edward
Snowden, NSA, major fucking story, went round the fucking world. It was on the main media. It was all over Facebook, all over fucking YouTube. Edward Snowden, NSA, National Security Authority. Now that's the same as MI6 in the UK. Now you're talking to a guy, me, sat here, built all the computers for the Ministry of Defence back in 2000. Full rollout, countrywide, UK-wide, every server, every laptop, every computer, secret security clearance. I know their systems. I know their methods of operation. I know the levels of security. I know the encryption. This is what I do. There is no chance in hell, never gonna happen, that Edward Snowden can walk out the NSA with an unencrypted laptop, take it to a commercial airport with WikiLeaks presence, WikiLeaks were there at the airport, and get on a plane with his own passport. Never going to happen. He'd have got shot. They'd have took the fucker down. It would never have got through the airport. There would have been a countrywide fucking alert in every fucking border port, airport, fucking you name it, so to look out for this guy. Security would have picked him up as soon as he fucking turned up at any fucking port, any airport, any fucking cross point. If he tried to get out of that country on his own passport, it'd have been picked up immediately. That is a major fucking embarrassment for the UK, for the USA government and the NSA security. Major fucking embarrassment. But hey, WikiLeaks were there in the same airport with him. Assange is afraid of his life. He's in the embassy. Someone's going to kill him. No, he's a fucking company puppet. That's a fairy tale. That's your salesman fucking fairy tale. All of it. Complete horse shit. And what is it that the Assange is leaking out from this laptop that he got off Snowden? Only what the fucking USA government wants to be leaked out. If anything of any value. So if there is something being leaked out, it's a puppet show. What credibility does that have now? What credibility does Assange have now? What credibility does WikiLeaks have now? None. Zero.
What about Manning?
What about who?
Manning.
Manning.
Bradley.
Manning.
Former Bradley. Now Chelsea.
Don't know his name. What does he do?
He was the one who had the connection with the video footage from the helicopters and the strikes that WikiLeaks ended up leaking.
Well, if WikiLeaks leaks it, they're company puppets. What veracity does that aerial footage have?
It shows you the videos. No, I mean, they could have been all staged. They could have been all puppets or dummies mowing down people.
In Iraq.
Oh, in Iraq. Well, yeah, they will do that. I'm not. I won't say that everything is staged. You know, they will fucking kill people, video it, and release it to do what? Create fear.
Yeah, that's who Brad Manning was. He was the young fellow who released them through WikiLeaks, and that's why he's in solitary confinement for the rest of his life.
Mm.
So would you consider him some sort of patsy?
Was that the guy that kept the woman off? Oh,
He's in prison now.
Yeah, in solitary confinement, too. He don't see the light of day.
I think we've lost connection with David.
Have we?
Yeah. We've got Angela. Is Angela back?
Yeah. I think. Right. Well, they've pretty much covered Trump.
Yeah.
Unless anybody else has got anything to say about it at all, the presidential elections. And have you all done, Paul?
No, I'm all finished. Thank you.
Yeah, Angela, are you all done on the presidential elect Donald Trump?
Well, the reason I went offline there is because I was watching a video. It was a live video, and he was talking about how, just different things about what he was going to do to make the country safe. And he was saying that he was going to keep open Guantanamo Bay. So
he's not make it into a. He's not going to make it into a holiday resort or something then.
No, but you've just, I don't know. I suppose we've just got to keep our eye on what he's going to be doing because.
Well, I'm shattered now because I was going to bring up some stuff, but I can't remember what it was now.
I mean, looking back in it,
do we else anybody here who's left in Angat here? Do we see Trump releasing Chelsea Manning?
No. Or what you call it, Hillary won't be indicted either.
No matter how much the American people want it to happen.
I don't. Well, what about Julian Assange as well? I think you see it'd be too controversial. Imagine if he actually said that he wanted them to be pardoned or whatever they do. They'd come down on him like a ton of bricks because their stance is that these people have actually sold out America. That's what their stance on them people. Not that they told the truth to people, exposed the truth, but they sold intelligence. Just like bloody Hillary did. But it's on the other spectrum to what they're suffering, isn't it? Away with it, but they won't. I don't think so, anyway. I mean, they should. They should. I mean, let's face it. Julian Assange really, in all respects, has helped him win that election, hasn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, he's been a major part in helping him win that election. If people are listening to the WikiLeaks stuff.
Well, I think what we should all do is to get on a plane, go out to America and stand with the liberal young people in the street and smash things up. You join them, don't you?
No.
Why not?
Well, why would you?
Yeah, I'm just saying. Well, obviously, if all this is going to be, a false red herring, and the American people...
I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying, I don't believe that. I can't imagine that he'd be... I think the establishment, and the people in America, what they're like. I've just been watching that thing there, USA, USA. Do you know what I mean? And
patriotism.
If they believe that Bradley Manning has jeopardized the security of the United States, I can't imagine letting him go, which I think, obviously, I do believe he should be let go, but I mean, he should be a bloody hero. He should have got the Peace Prize, not Obama.
Well, I've just looked at his cabinet, or alleged cabinet. I don't know if it's actually confirmed, but it's got a lot of Bush connections in it, so...
Yeah.
What did you get out from, PJ?
Washington Post, I think it were.
Oh, wow.
I can't bring it back up. I've not got it at the minute.
Well, yeah, but then they're not mainstream media.
New York Times, do apologise. New
Oh,
York.
New York.
I was watching a few documentaries today, just because we were going to talk about Donald Trump, and so I thought, instead of looking at something that's in favour, because there's lots obviously on my wall that talk about favour, and that comes up in my YouTube stuff, but I thought I'll try and find something that's like negative, to see what the other side's saying, type thing. And this guy, he was putting an argument forward saying that he was just there as a ruse, because he's done it quite a few other times in other elections to get, connections with the Bushes. I think, was it in 2009 or something? Some not election for the president, but like for some senator, to get in. Oh, I don't know. I mean, I can't believe that somebody would get that far ahead without it being bloody sketchy. Can you? And if you look as well, when he did any of the debates with any of them, he was always placed in the middle, wasn't he? Centre stage in the middle.
Anyway,
I don't know.
He probably is a system man. He's probably been put there by the system. The system has put him there. They brought about this new private man who was not a politician before, apparently. Or no connections to Illuminati or service record, and hasn't served as a soldier. He's the only one who's ever come from that type of bank, or granted, a multi-billionaire businessman. I suppose I kind of look at it like this. It doesn't really matter, either or either. It doesn't matter whether the New World Order is behind Donald Trump. What do we know about a New World Order? Well, we're perceived to know that it's a single globalist ideal with one government, one religion, one everything. Well, it's obvious then, because David's just pulled up 176 embassy addresses and proved that it's all one corporation. So there we go. So maybe Donald Trump is, maybe he isn't. We're never going to know anyway.
When I'd like to look more into that, what David's done, pulled up, because
they're embassies.
I was going to say, embassies is I mean, I watched Putin the other day where he was inviting people to put their application forward for embassies in Russia. Did you watch that? It was quite interesting.
But each embassy is a limited company.
Exactly. I mean, an embassy is a state of its own. Like, you can't. That's how Assange has been able to stay in the Ecuadorian embassy. That the police are not allowed to go in, because that's a little territory within their territory, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't understand how it means the whole country. I don't understand that. I can understand it meaning the embassy, but I don't know.
Well, you see, if it's the same corporation like David's found it, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what I kind of know where David's coming from, and it's fair enough. Well, everything's corporate. But even
well, everything,
yeah, everything's corporate. So there's no revelation there. We already know that. People who are sort of awake, or whatever you want to call it, there's no big secret there. It's pulled up is all these embassies are corporate. Yes. Well, if they're all the same and they're all bound by the same rules, there's no way in this world that Assange shouldn't have been dragged out of that embassy.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Because don't like when you have an embassy, it's like the embassy anywhere in the world. They have to apply to have embassies. Some embassies, Ireland threw the Vatican out not long ago, and then they let them back in, didn't they? apparently.
Of course, but there's some people are saying, well, yeah, they're not going to make it so obvious to do that. It's all part of the game. It's all part of the game. They're just playing all the
Yeah,
game.
but I mean, that's why I'd like to understand more what he's saying about their embassies. But, you know,
Well, we're all
because
corporates, Angela, you know that. Everything's
you
corporate.
can't understand that it's the whole country of Zimbabwe or whatever. Oh, you know what I mean?
UK PLC, that's the whole country, one corporation.
Yeah, but if
Or
you've
is that
got,
just part of it?
if you've got an embassy in a country, then that little land of what the embassy's on belongs to the country, doesn't it? I say the Chinese embassy in London belongs to China.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's under, but it's under the rules of the whole global corporation, so it don't belong to nobody, only the corporation that owns the whole lot. So where do we go with that, Angela? That's what I'm saying. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just open minded on it all.
I mean, we've gone round the traps. I mean, it sounds like we're talking the Freeman thing here, really, aren't we?
It's madness, isn't it?
We've gone round the traps with the Freeman. It seems to, because I politely disagree with you about us being free. You know what I mean? You say we're free. Yes, we might be in our minds, but we're not free.
That's what I mean.
We're not free. I think we really need to acknowledge the fact that we're slaves. That's what I think, and that's the first step.
If you want to be, yeah.
Well, I don't want to be, but I am.
What is that?
Under duress.
Is it under duress?
Of course it's under duress.
Yeah,
it's the system that I was born into.
Well, I'm sorry, there's no law, so there's no such thing as under duress.
But, I mean, that's just fantasy talk. I've been round.
Well, that's what Dave says. It's not law.
I've been round the traps of that for years and years and years. But, it's like, it doesn't stop it doesn't stop the thug coming into your door and taking you, like you said before. It doesn't stop them. So,
we know where we are, Angela. You've been round the block. You know the score. So does PJ. So does Paul.
Yeah, no, but I mean, I just don't. It's like when I used to be in forums listening to people talking like that, but it doesn't solve any problems, that, does it? Sort of saying that we're free.
What's going to solve it?
It doesn't, because we're not.
What's going to solve it? What do you think? I'm being sincere. I'm open-minded. What do you think is going to solve it?
Well, I think they're probably the same as you. Is just like awareness, and like it's never going to happen until everybody participates or the majority does. It's never going to happen.
Some people say, "Well, I don't want that type of freedom." What are you going to do then?
Well, it's never going to happen.
I understand you clear.
I understand you as well, but I tell you something, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen until you get the majority thinking the same way, or acknowledging the fact that they're slaves.
I agree with you. I agree with you, but I'm saying it's never going to happen, is it? In this intrinsic physical world we live in. Never going to happen. Not going to happen. Let's be honest with me. Let's be totally honest.
I am, yeah, that's it. It's never going to happen until people and that's why I think that the best thing that Donald Trump has done is actually open people's minds up. There is even the worst tyrant that's going to come along.
So
for all we know.
The only way we can make things better is to make things better. Is to make things better. I mean, I just talk about decency and morals, Angela. That's where I come from.
Yeah, I know you do, but I mean that's not talking about the whole of the world. I'm talking about, and you're talking personally. I'm talking like collectively. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not talking about just personally.
Of course I do. Of course I do. And a lot of people say, Stab, you're not very humanitarian. Why aren't you speaking for the whole world? I said, because I can't speak for the whole world. How can I speak for the whole world? I can only speak for me. I can only give my thoughts. God's thoughts, because I don't know what they are. I don't know what the rest of the 7 billion world's thoughts are. So how can I speak for them? I can't speak for them. I can only speak for myself.
Well, you're gonna. Well, what's the point in speaking about it at all then? Just carry on with just your personal life. That's what's the point in going around the traps and talking and on and on and on about bloody this sort of Freeman attitude that it's never going to happen until everybody understands that they are slaves.
I got into the Freeman thing because at that time in 2007, I'd already jumped off the wagon. Okay, I'd made a decision to step off the ride. Right, so I decided to expand my knowledge, and I went on the web page that was on the internet and went, hey, who's these guys? Bloody hell, yeah. Like everybody else. I ain't no different. In it, there's a lot of sense and a lot of logic, and it makes sense, and it's about economic slavery, and that we're all slaves, and yes. But here I am here now, and am I any better for it? Well, knowledge-wise, yeah, because I've checked a lot of historical facts. I've found out the lies or deceptions, the misinformation, the disinformation. Does it make any difference to the rest of the world? Not one jot. But it's helped me, myself, and that's what I can get from it. If I can help anybody who's in trouble, some people go out and they do serve soup to homeless people, pick them up, give them money, take them for a McDonald's, whatever. Fantastic. Will there be homeless people the next day? You bet your life there will be. Will there be homeless people after that man spent his whole life? When he died, you bet your life there will be. So we all try and do the best we can. And what's the point of me talking about it? Well, I came on here tonight, I'll be honest, to talk about this election of Trump. I don't know with the guy, I don't know what's going to happen. I ain't got bloody faith for this. Am I in the inside? No, I'm not in the inside. I couldn't tell you who's telling the truth, who's doing what, who's doing this, who's doing that. I haven't got the foggiest because I'm not inside.
None of us have really.
Basically, Angela, and that's why I say I can only speak for myself, and I mean that. But it's a shame that I'm not the Messiah, but I am. Well, if you believe in that sort of thing, of course, a lot of people don't believe in that sort of thing. So I'm not Mr. Universe. So I've come to terms with that now. But if I can help people, of course, I'm there. Humanitarian, whatever.
But yeah, I understand all that. I quite understand all that, and I appreciate and I respect that, right? And I think that's the goals for every man, woman, and child in the world. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
but we're obviously here as well to talk about how, like the systems. Is the system going to? We're talking about Donald Trump firstly. Is the system going to change? Is he going to change the system? Is he waking people up? What other ways is there that we can actually forward this?
Absolutely. That's what tonight was about.
Yeah. But keep going back to just like, to me, like keep going back to like, yeah, I'm free. Yeah. In my head.
No, I didn't. I'm not.
You know what I mean? I don't know. I've heard it. I've heard it loads and loads of times, and yeah. You know what I mean? I can understand the rhetoric of it, but it's not reality, is it?
No, it isn't. Listen, I know the legal system as not perhaps as much as David, but I know all about statutes and laws and the rule of consent and the colour of law and the enforcement of colour of law. I know all that. I've read it ages ago. Clever piece of paper and stump a lawyer myself, but I don't need to do that. Right, and I'm not being disrespectful to anybody who's won their court cases because great.
But let's not talk personally then about it. Maybe what can we do? How can we go forward for everybody? Do you know what I mean? How can it be pushed forward?
As a collective,
the only thing I ever come back to is like spreading awareness. That's the only thing I can think of, because like it's never going to happen until there is that awareness spread, is there? Do you know what I mean? And I think it is accelerating, which is a good thing. You know what I mean? It is actually accelerating.
Well, Well, we have a lot of young people in America who don't believe that at all. They're completely the opposite way of thinking. They want a state to look after them. They want their college fees paid. They want their benefits. They want to be looked after. They want their new cars. They want their mobile phones. They want this. They want that. And they don't. And this is the truth. I think it was my truth. They don't want to work for it. All right. Let's get it right. They don't want to work for it. You can see that. Why should they? When they've been given it since the day they were born. Most of those kids right in America are no more than about 23 or 24. We do a great job. Didn't we do a really good job of bringing these kids up like that? So perhaps they're not to blame at all. Perhaps it's the parents and the parents' parents.
They've been totally...
If there's a problem with it, you know? Sorry, Paul?
They've been totally indoctrinated. The trouble is now they're a bunch of snowflakes because they've been indoctrinated.
But you can see the progression of why they became indoctrinated was because that, the industry, the industries had taken away. The women had to, they were encouraged to go out to work. So most, put into, indoctrination centres.
See, the trouble is, the older ones like me and staff, we can see that because we live through it. The trouble is the youngsters, they haven't seen that. And then had the indoctrination on the top of that. So I feel sorry for them in a lot of ways, but the trouble is they're causing the problems now because they're indoctrinated. It's not their fault.
But you say that, but also don't you think that, like what Steph just said there, that it is the fault. We were the ones that fell asleep. We were the ones. Our generation.
We're the ones to blame for letting it happen.
It happened, but also, obviously, let's face it, you can't. We were tricked into it, weren't we? We were giving it all after the war. We were tricked into it.
I agree with you on that point. Well, them points.
We're all to blame. Listen, Stab's to blame. Stab's had nephews and nieces. Oh, go on, you go on that. I'll give it. How much do you want? Yeah, here it is. I'll give it to you. I want my nephews and nieces to have everything I never had. Oh,
that's only natural.
But the trouble is, they've been so far indoctrinated, they're not even willing now to listen to the elders. And as I say, we're at fault because we should have told them at a much younger stage of their growing up.
But we didn't know ourselves, did we?
We didn't know we were being tricked.
Exactly, that's the thing. So now maybe that's the way forward. Maybe that's a part of the way forward is to encourage homeschooling, encourage to get out of that system.
Yeah, our generations now have got to start speaking up for our children's future's sakes.
It reminds me very much. Not that I even believe that it might be true, but that. The way that the rhetoric that they talk about, the way Hitler, with the Hitler Youth, I'm not saying that this is true at all, but I'm just saying that the way that it's put forward to us.
Yeah, this is what's happening, but it's been done much more subtly.
Yeah, the way that Hitler sort of, discouraged, like in 1984, where they discouraged, like talking to, respecting the elders. And you can see that happening after Brexit. I've heard it coming out of America as well. Like people saying, it's okay for them wanting Trump, but it's our future. The youth are saying that. So
as if as old as still not got any future, and they say they've been taught not to listen to us elders.
Like this.
In fact, the young children now at school have been told been taught not to listen to the parents. Literally taught it not to listen.
Yeah, that's true. That's what I'm saying. It's like 1984. Yeah.
Well, I think it's we could. There was Dave Barron, whatever Dave Barron was it? Yeah, there is no contract. We all know this. We don't know. There's no people signed it or anything, whatever, and that. And
Yeah.
until everybody thinks that way, and then it's gonna be hard to see how it comes about. It's all perfectly logical and everything. So yeah, he's right. There is no contract. So
And how do you bloody manage that? You know, when he was talking about that barrister who was now teaching, I mean, she doesn't even understand it. Do you know what I mean? She's just like going along with the tick boxes. You know?
Yeah, well, most of
that is what I said. I don't feel bad about feeling like a bad schoolboy now, not knowing, because if the top levels that are supposed to know don't know.
She wondered, like, how can you go into that sort of field of work, delve into that, you know, to understand the nitty gritty and right to the end.
They went in it just for the money rewards.
True, yeah, that's true. It's like everybody. It's all the departmentalization.
It's people the money that's corrupt.
They go to the law society and take a degree in law, and they only know what they're told.
Yeah, but it's like the same in the medical profession. In the whole of the medical profession, for 4 years of a medical school, they only do one afternoon on nutrition.
Yeah, that's true.
It's exactly the same kind of situation.
It is. And the police and the bloody, the lot of them.
Yeah.
Anyway, Gina's, I think, are you there, Gina?
Yeah, we've been hamstrung all the way along the line.
Yeah.
Well, there we are. Interesting times. Let's see what happens. At least it's been thrown up in the air. The system's been thrown up in the air. Has it deliberately been thrown up in the air by the...
I know. What? It's just like hold tight.
And that's why Stab's on it. Yeah, Angela, to answer your question, Stab's on it because it's interesting. It's interesting, that side of it. You can't help but be interested. Otherwise, people wouldn't go down their Facebook wall and go, "Oh, what's that he said about that? Who's this Nigel Farage coming in as the EU ambassador or whatever he is?" I can't remember what PJ said he was going to do.
That's going to cause total riots, that, isn't it? I'll have to go and look at that one because, like,
yeah, but it's interesting. That's what Stab's on here for now. It's because I get to speak with great people like you and everybody that's been in here, Dave and PJ, yourself, Paul, and Gina. Hopefully, I can see a tree. Isn't it lovely? You guys, you know, you're really good people to talk to. That's why I'm here. I'm here first and foremost for that. And can we make a difference to it all? Well, let's see. Let's see what happens, you know. So that's all we can say, you know. Really.
You can't mess with the main guy.
Which is who's the main guy then?
Well, I couldn't log back in. I couldn't get back in on this call. You will not allow back in. Okay. So I logged out as my usual Google name. I logged back in as a new one that I created a few days ago, which is House of Ward Embassy at Gmail, and I'm back in.
Well,
Don't.
Yeah, but we're just going to. Well, I'm not sure if we're all finished now. Whether we're going to wind it up as we've gone on.
That's okay.
Finally, what we've not touched on is Syria with Trump. What's his thoughts on that individual? Where do we see that heading?
Well, he said that he would talk to them, so I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, it's not. It's like you say. It was a one big pantomime the whole election. So who's to say it's not the encore? You know what I mean? What's going to happen afterwards?
You'll see some change.
He's still. I think he's still prepared to go in to get Daesh. So.
Yeah, I think you'll see some change, PJ. But what that change will be, I don't know. But there'll be a change in either, I don't know, regional powers there that supposedly have paid for mercenaries.
Change.
Yeah, I guess. But I think you'll see a change there quite quick, I think. But then, you know, you may not. I don't know. I think that whoever's the main players in the arena, apart from the States and the West, through the Saudi chain. That's going to change, the Saudi situation.
I actually believe the genie's been let out of the bottle purposely to cause discontent riots so they can bring in martial law more or less worldwide.
Yeah, you could be right with that one.
It is the Brexit plus, as Trump said.
Black Brexit on steroids. It all dies down. We think that this is going to... I thought that everybody would be up in bloody arms when, you know, when they found out about the paedophiles, brings in bloody, you know, government and all that, but nothing...
That's it exactly, Andrew. People can't start standing up for the children with the paedophilia. Well, we stand no bloody chance whatsoever. Basically, there's no backbone left in this country or most other countries.
Well, look in America, you know, with all this. I'm not saying that it was true, but they linked Podesta up with this spirit cooking, and then they put all that shit out, you know that. And you're talking really horrible stuff here, but
and who actually released the spirit cooking? It was WikiLeaks yet again, so it's been done purposefully.
No, that's not true. That's not true. I can tell you from over here in America a few things that I've heard down the pipes. The leaks about when the FBI reopened right before the election about Hillary, and then they closed it again very quickly, were concerning an arrest that was made in New York City at the NYPD with an ex-representative, Anthony Weiner. He had been texting again to a young 15-year-old, and the mother went into the NYPD and said, "You guys have got to shut this man down. He's a sexual perpetrator."
He had it filed under insurance.
Right. So when they confiscated his home computer and his laptop computer, lo and behold, a cache of pedophilia, pedophile rings, emails to Hillary and Bill about the jet, the Lolita jet going down, and I think there's 20 instances of Bill going, and there was some instance of Hillary also being involved.
But the same again, Gina. What was done about the Boys Town?
I'm trying to tell you now what happened. It went from the NYPD to the FBI. I heard that every foot person down to the lowly ticket writer in the NYPD knew about it. They were disgusted with it. I mean, there's one thing Americans hate is pedophiles, or you know, you don't want to. There's just a few things that common people can't even believe or grasp, like the spirit cooking. You know, they can talk themselves out of that shit, but when you have actually graphic pictures and then other dates and times and locations through BCC and Blind CC or CC emailed about trips for these hot dogs and hamburgers, which are code names for little boys and little girls. What I heard is that once it hit the FBI, it pretty much ran the gamut like it did at the NYPD. Nobody could keep their mouth shut about it. This was a secret that they couldn't put a top on it. And so what you had was an agency coup. You had an interagency coup. And this was told to me last week, the Sunday before the election. Watch Gina Brown in the next 48 hours. Something is going to happen. And so when I heard the president's speech, because, you know, I worked on the president's campaign in 2008 and 2012 for a brief time, before I became a more enlightened soul and started learning about the things y'all are talking about. Some of those connections I still have very high up. And one of them said, watch Gina Brown. This was Sunday at 9 a.m. In 48 hours, everything's going to change. There's a coup happening between all of the intelligence agencies. Even security guards that are guarding Hillary Clinton are like ready to walk off the job. They're disgusted. I mean, they've shared this information and everyone knew, but the American public.
But
And
Gina,
so,
excuse me, but this knowledge of the Lolita Express and the involvement of Prince Andrew and Bill Clinton was known about 2 or 3 years ago.
this did not include Hillary's knowledge or Hillary's supposed a picture of Hillary. All I'm saying is, I don't know that it's true. I just heard it from some sources that told me it was a military coup that put Trump in office, and that also I heard that she didn't know until the returns started coming in. This is why she was very late to come out and give her concession speech. Now, one of the things I've observed as an organizer is that all of these marches, against Trump and for Hillary, honey, it's on Craigslist. They're paying people $15, $18 an hour to go out there and protest. What are they really doing? They have no groundswell. They have no support from common people. Common people are hungry over here. Will they go to work for $15 an hour and protest on the street 77 hours, up to 77 hours a week being promised to be paid? In Philadelphia and places like this where you can find these ads in the paper, yes, that's because the American people are hungry. But one of the things I don't want you to give up on is something I heard another man speaking in the eyes of God. It was a talk, and he said that everyone's on their own level of truth. And, what good is it to be kind of rehashing about the magistrate courts or what's happened when you go in and you are determined to uncover what these systems are. They're all systems. They're like a hydra. You can't just, like one of the guys said, you can't just cut off the Federal Reserve and think that's going to change everything. No, everything is intertwined, and so that there's a different paths to truth. And as people become more and more alert to and awake to and aware of what's happening, it is a knowledge. It's like they're coming in at a baby kindergarten.
So what you're saying, Gina, is all the compartmentalised different compartments are now getting the information which they weren't.
Right, because I learned of some of these things 2 years ago on my own study about the, Brunswick Municipal Court is on Dun and Bradstreet, trading open market, prison bonds. But I had to kind of do the research myself a couple of years ago and realize, yeah, this is a fucking corporation. These bitches ain't about justice, and the more I started delving into it and finding out all I could find out about the, truth or sovereign movement, I don't ever want to call myself or label myself in one action. What I think is important, and as an organizer, I don't do shit now, and I advised all my people, do not go your ass out there. Do not, because what this is, some of them are very gleeful about, is that they have Black Lives Matter, which I've always said was a military industrial complex kind of organized movement. It never was a generic movement that, maybe someone thought of the hashtag, but it wasn't something, it came out of a think tank, like a Fabian think tank.
It's called the Answer
something
Group.
For years. Yes. And to think that Trump is any different is to discard everything we've learned. And the one thing I like is that everybody's on different levels of truth, and the way I understood this was like in Narcotic Anonymous or AA when I was used to be there, whatever they call those. I'm still half asleep. I told PJ that's the problem when you're still sleepy. Talking is you really can't lie during these early hours of waking, but it's like as a sponsor. And a lady asked, it was another sponsor, said, well, this woman couldn't happen. These things couldn't have happened to her. I know her mother. Her mother could have never done those things to her. And so she said, should I believe her or should I call her on it? And I said, honey, let me ask my sponsor, which is what you do in these 12-step programs, is you go to another mentor, someone who's experienced it, because through experience, like what Dave was saying, when he laid that thing up on the magistrate, it was an experience, and he knew now that not to lay it up there. So in other words, everything is a learning experience. What my sponsor told me to tell the woman is, shut the hell up. Whatever level of truth that person is on, they need validation and acceptance of their truth, because we will continue to deny our own truth to search for something else. So is a baby, like a baby taking baby steps. We're in the very, very beginning, and we are really pioneers of this transition from Pisces to Aquarius. So we must be very cautious not to discount the small work on the ground, or wherever someone comes in and they're fighting a traffic ticket or whatever it is they're doing. We should really hopefully empower them to learn for themselves their own rights and the system, the way the system works, because it truly is a consciousness that has to be raised, and that's through education, good eating habits. And let me tell you, over here, I'm very fearful because it is a military state already. I don't even, I have the freedom to go shop where I want, but I'm, being watched on monitors and facial recognition. They will tell you when you go in there. And it's like everything I say is being recorded. And we know that through Edward Snowden, and God bless his heart, through our smartphones. And so there's no coverage of peace or quiet in a place. The only thing you can do is through meditation, try to use discernment of what is true. So when I listen to the president or the senator, when I worked for him in 2008, and I've been on many conference calls with him, when I heard him say the word silent majority made the decision, and they came out and voted in numbers, meaning people cut the coffee tables and this and that, to say between the lines that the military and industrial complex made a decision, and they went with Hillary. Now, with Trump. Now, you look at Hillary got the popular vote, but when she lost in Florida, holy shit, I was looking and I thought, holy shit, they're not playing. They are absolutely taking this from her. And of course, like, I don't know your name, sweetheart, but you said she will never be indicted. Of course not. She will never be indicted. And these people are, what is it, passing notes in history during this transition time. All I ever hope and pray is that some human rights, through some kind of manifestation of common man, that we can try these people in absentia and note them for their debauchery and for the willingness of the few to take down the many and the impoverished all over the world. I mean, that's my hope. Now, to think that Trump is going to come in and my prayer is that you guys can rewrite a Magna Carta, and maybe we can rewrite some things on the Constitution, but I don't think that's going to happen with Trump. I think it's they're not done yet. And with the what is it, the gluttony, the greed, I don't see them as being done. But I also wonder what's going to happen in the next 100 days, because I don't watch the news. That's why I told PJ I'm really not a good source of information, except what I experience and visually see in my community or hear from people that I'm close to, work through many different states. And one of the things I will want to share with you guys is that my daughter said she went to the big store after the election on Wednesday, and she said, "Mom, have you been out shopping yet?" And I said, "No." And she said, "It's like walking on eggshells." I said, "You're kidding me." And she said, "No, Mom, the whole vibration has changed here in America." And I said, "You're shitting me." And she said, "No, Mom. I mean, I walked around the corner and some black people, they just stopped talking and looked at me like I was one of them. And I looked at them and I'm like, I didn't vote that cheese doodle in office." And, I wanted to say that to them because people are so fearful. And so she took me out to the store on Thursday, and sure, she goes, "I don't know if the affect will still be sensible for you to feel it, but just watch." And sure enough, there were so many older white folks with makeup on. They were out shopping. It's like, where have all these people been? I guess they've been hiding, but they were gleeful. They were happy. And that's a really sad connotation, that the millennials believe that these elderly folk are racist or put this man in office for these other motives, which may not be so altruistic. Because honestly, I think the millennials are the ones that are going to, you know, like a backhand in tennis, when you're really at your stretch and you can't, you better have a good backhand, you know, and you're running back to catch it, and you just, you know, the forehand, everybody's got a forehand, but you better have a great backhand. And that's how I feel like the millennials are going to be in 20, 30 years, the backhand that will finish this crap. Because I don't see it happening in a presidential term. I don't know, because there's just so many rumors going on, and you can see the division of people and the fright, the fear is palatable. And so palpable. So when you're in your community and all of a sudden you're looking at each other wondering who's against who, and that's the kind of shit they've created with this election. Now, whether they did that on purpose or not, I'm like, one of you guys who said it's like a chess game, that it's like these 3 or 4 dimensional chess games. I mean, they really, really, really have planned it out through years and years ahead of us. But to see it play out is a sad situation, because the community at the lower levels are the ones that are struggling with this result. But to know that the propagandists, George Soros, and these people who are paying for these people to be out protesting, you know, I just advise all my people, do not go protest. Go educate yourself. Just start studying. Go learn something. And when I say that,
there's nobody coming out, you know, like from Obama or Hillary or even Trump, like to put a message out there for them to, you know, quell this rioting, is there?
Well, no, because see, it was always some of these movements were already created by military, industrial. And this is why I always try to warn people about the history of my people's labor struggles. Well, they always put what they call provocateurs, people who would shout obscenities or shoot a gun off or something that would start the crap or the riot. So whenever I see the word riot, I know that there's an operative in there that did that. Yeah. Because for the most part, even in Ferguson, a couple of Thanksgivings ago, when that grand jury came down on Monday that they were not going to indict the people, and then you see all this rioting in Ferguson. The people in Ferguson told me, I mean, my friends that are activists on the ground said the fuckers that were lighting up the car part store and some of the other, they were not even from there. They didn't even know who those people were. And I'm telling you.
And I'll tell you the irony. Yeah, the irony is, like, you know, the people in Dakota, that you know, the natives that are getting rubber bullets thrown at and pepper sprayed, and, you know, loads of injuries and probably deaths as well. You know, and these are allowed to continue. No, you know, there's like nobody going in there, because it's not a peaceful process anymore, is it? It's been a riot, and they left it go.
You see, this is why I say you must build loyalty between each other, even across continents and I used to say across county lines and across municipalities. Hell, now I say across state lines and across country lines and across the world, because if your consciousness is a high vibration, you seek not to injure. That's the first law of universal love. It's the law. It's do no harm. So when you see anyone engaging in actions that may cause harm to themselves or others, they have not educated themselves as to the machination of corporate master, what I call corporate master, which is a system. It's a system of repression. And all it is you know what people would argue, the 5th, 6th, 7th manifestation of empire. You know, and we're surely moving from that. But, you know, whatever level a person is coming into the truth movement or getting into it, you never want to discourage them. It's like somebody coming in AA and they've only got one day clean. You don't want to say something that cause that person to go out and drink that night. So you really don't want people to go back out and participate. See, for myself, I was peacefully non-compliant in that I did not vote. And I let every one of my friends in my small circles know I wasn't voting. Now, was I getting a lot of emails with attachments from people I don't know and other names that looked like a possible job? Yes, because they would love to, you know, take a few computers out. And they have taken a few computers out in the first few years of me delving into this kind of information. But no longer am I, what is it? Susceptible to those kind of attacks, because they need people like us on the forefront that are talking and pushing the envelope. And I'm actually going to handwrite a letter to President Obama as an alumni, and I personally am going to ask him to pardon Edward Snowden as a mother, because if as a mother we see that our children are doing the right thing by the ethics that they have instilled in themselves, because morals, of course, come from indoctrination, churches, your schools and shit. They're just bullshit. But if you can actually raise a child up to have the ethics to self-determine or self-actualize their life, you've completed your task as a parent, because they are able to use their wings to soar and to do things that are out of the box and that will help direct groups of people. Now, did Secret Service allow him to come out there and make all that available? In a way, I doubt it, because when I watch Citizen-4 and I see him and his mannerisms, his body language, and then as you watch the show, it's the documentary, you know, the first one, when he's like being documented the first few days of all this being released. Oh, he's a kid. He's just a kid. He's a kid who made his mind up to stand up for something that's right. And so I don't think that there was any willful disregard for our security as a nation. I think what he was concerning himself with was the fact that we have gotten to be a nation that is a gladiator, you know, sport nation. We want to watch the Super Bowl. We want to watch the Cubs. Who the fuck cares? I don't care about the Cubs winning Chicago. I mean, it's nice. Don't get me wrong, but personally, I don't invest my time into watching those things because they're detractors. And they are detractors for you to have peers who think like you do on the level of contentment, of passive, it's not even resistance, it's passive compliance. And as long as they have this masses of people who are passively compliant, they'll continue to award these presidential campaigns to whomever the military decides they are going to put in office. And the thing that worries me now is, heck, they might take Trump out, because I don't know that he has the experience to run the office. And that's the thing. If it was a military coup put him in there, and you're not going to hear that here in America, and I doubt it gets heard much over there, because there's so much over there that y'all are going through that we don't hear over here. You know, like even people will send me stuff about different things, and I'm like, holy shit, I can't even Google any mainstream media and find any of these stories here. So of all the people in the world, I think that we are the most programmed and propagandized because of the military might that the Americans have. So we are really like well, you know, chattel or whatever. You can call us sheeple or whatever, but we're the most fooled because they've used so much of what's the guy, Sigmund Freud's nephew? You know, Bernays. They devised such a system to promulgate this idea of Leave It to Beaver and the great family life and a consumer network. You know, if you have this phone, you're going to be sexy. If you use this toothpaste, you're going to have a good-looking girlfriend and your breast's going to smell fresh. So, I mean, they produced this consumer society, and then they all of a sudden are saying how how wasteful Americans are. Well, hell, you created this monstrosity. how are you going to disable it? They're not disabling it. If anything, they're trying, I think, to just propagate the world into this kind of a.
So you've got to be saying they've created Frankenstein that's got out of order.
Yeah, that's why I tried to say to some of my Democratic friends, well, wait a minute, what happens in the scripture? All things work for good to those who love God. Did you stop loving God yesterday? And they were like, is this the Gina Brown I know? Yeah, it's the Gina Brown you know, but who's to say Trump won't come back and give us universal health care? Because, you know, the conservatives in Britain have universal health care, and we could certainly use it over here because we don't have universal health care. We have so many people without health care.
That's been taken away from in the UK now. I mean, the NHS has been sold off. And Richard Branson Richard Branson's only just bought another big chunk of it just a few days ago.
Yeah, well, that's another show. Guys, we have exceeded time limit now, but Gina, you've brought some positive energy back into towards the end of the show, so I thank you for that.
Yeah, just don't be discouraged, and encourage people at whatever level they are seeking truth. That's the most important part.
Well, I want to leave with this quote from Carl Jung before I end it. And it goes a little bit like this. There is no coming to consciousness without pain. People will do anything, no matter how absurd, in order to avoid facing their own soul. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious.
Yes. That's beautiful. Thank you guys for having me.